You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this final Thursday of January? Starting to see Championship Sunday for the first time from here. How you doing? How's your week going?
Week's going pretty well. I mean, the weather's broke. We're going to have 2-3 days of normal weather before we freeze our tuchuses off.
That's up and down I-75. That's a technical term, tuchuses.
Yes, they don't use that on the weather nearly enough, in my opinion.
I don't disagree. I heard it growing up constantly. All right. My mother, cleaning things up would refer to it as a tuchus all the time.
Trust me, I knew what you meant when you said it. I didn't have to look at you. Well, what's he talking about over there?
Right.
With this tuchus talk.
That could become a regular segment, if things go. I mean, we had the dark pit of despair from Madison Keys. We could, also add tuchus talk.
Might only be in the bonus hour.
Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks for waking up with us. We really appreciate it. Got a good show lined up for you today. Going to get into a few things. A bonus. Normally, we have to wait till Friday for Pat Kirwan to rejoin us, but he has to change his travel plans. So he needs to join us today. Okay, we can do that. We have a few people who kind of booked themselves on this show. No one more so than Pat.
Pat has carte blanche.
Right.
He really does.
He lets us know.
He gives us a lot of time.
Right.
And the cost ain't all bad.
Exactly. We give him suggestions. We would like Tuesday and Friday in the 8 o'clock hour. Pat lets us know whether or not that's doable for him. Oh, okay. Sounds good. We're 6 to 9, 6 to 10, 5 days a week. Fit us in when you can.
Whenever you can make it, we'll be here for you.
But the coaching carousel is underway, I guess. I have to admit, I thought we'd have a little more movement by now.
Totally.
But these teams are taking their time hiring their general managers. But we now have 9 openings with Sean Payton stepping away. 9 openings. Over a quarter of the league's going to have new coaches. How many new coaches are we going to have next year? When you have 9 new coaches this year, and
we had how many?
We had 6 or 7, I thought, the year before.
Right.
Seemingly half the league is turned over in 12 months' time.
The NFL became the NHL really quickly.
Yes.
Because that was the league that your coaching tenure, if you had 4 years, you might be the longest tenured coach in the league for a while. And the NFL is seemingly trying to say, hold my beer at the rate. That's half the league that's been replaced in 2 years, David.
Well, it seems that way. We have 9 now this year, and I'm trying to think who were the first-year head coaches in 2021. So we've had a ton of turnover. There is absolutely no question about it. Philly had a new coach in 2021. Detroit had a new coach in 2021.
The Jets
had a new coach in 2021. I'm just trying to go through conferences and divisions and what have you. But Atlanta had a new coach in 2021. So that's 4. There was no new coach in the West. And so
first year coach, have you mentioned Houston?
Nope, didn't get to Houston. Houston had a new coach.
They have a new one again.
Right. But congratulations, by the way, you're the winner. All right. Okay. Congratulations to the Texans. That's 5. And so you get the idea. So that's 14 at least. And we may have Jacksonville had a new coach.
Right. And will again. And
yes,
they're tied with Houston right now.
They really are. In fact, Jacksonville may have won because they got rid of their coach during the season. And they had a couple of controversies to go with it. So the Jags actually may have won this. They may have won over Houston. And that's saying something. Both in the same division, which once again begs the question, if you're Tennessee and Indianapolis, keep pushing your chips in. man, do you have an opening, and you need to take advantage of it. You realize what a huge opportunity this was for the Titans that they let slip away.
Such a great point.
And that's why I think Indianapolis needs to go all in on one of these veteran quarterbacks from the NFC, whether it's Russ, whether it's Aaron. All right, if they make themselves available, or if I'm Indianapolis, maybe I just have to make somebody an offer they can't refuse.
Well, that's what I think you're going to have to do, even despite all of this. And I can't wait to talk to Pat Kirwan, because before we get into the games, where's Aaron Rodgers playing next year? I just want to make sure you're on the record still that he's playing in Green Bay, right?
I believe that's what Pat thinks. So we shall see. Miller and Moulton on this fine Thursday. You know, speaking of coaches, Leftwich is yet to be hired in Jacksonville. Yesterday at this time, this sucker was happening. In fact, there were reports out there saying it's happened. They're just finalizing stuff. And, you know, when 24 hours goes by, it makes you think that maybe this isn't happening. I mean, they interviewed somebody again yesterday. That's what tells me this is not close.
I'm stunned that we haven't had a coach hire yet.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, we're almost to Conference Championship Sunday, and we haven't had a coach replaced.
Well, and as Pat said, the Senior Bowl kicks off next week, right? It is an important thing for these staffs and to be at.
There was a report last night that Brian Daboll is the choice for the Dolphins. That right now he is the leader in the clubhouse. And since their interview process is seemingly over, that he's who they want. The problem for the Dolphins is that could be the guy the Giants want.
And the Giants have a little bit of hand because their general manager and he have a relationship.
Right. Then again, Daboll knows Tua from his 1 year at Alabama. Now, granted, it was Tua's freshman year, and he didn't play much, all right, but he did work with him for the entire year. So if you're Miami, if he's your guy, don't you have to aggressively go after him so that he doesn't get a chance to wait? Because the Giants still have 2 more second interviews planned. They're going to talk to Brian Flores today, and then I think they talk to Leslie Frazier on Friday. I mean, if you're the Dolphins, don't you have to say to Daboll, hey, you know, offer him the job? I mean, usually guys who have never been a head coach before, when they get offered a head coaching job, don't say, give me 48 hours. They normally say, thank you, I'll accept. So the team that obviously bit of a rooting interest here in the listenership of the Florida Sports Network, that if I'm waiting for Miami to actually offer Daboll the job, if he is in fact the choice, and there was a report last night that that's the guy they want, well, then go get him.
Seems like the easy thing to do to me. But I've said before, and, you know, we asked Matt Canada yesterday, is Greer as GM hurting their chances of getting the coach that they want? And he said, yes, it has to be. And I do think that this is becoming a problem. If they want a coach that has a relationship with another GM, yeah, they've got the Tua factor, but he walks in knowing where he stands. Not a partner with the GM, working for the GM. Goes to the Giants, he's a partner with the GM.
Right.
There's a big, big difference.
Yes. Plus, although I will say, normally, whenever you're comparing one team's ownership with the Dolphins' ownership, that Team A would have an advantage. But with the way John Mara has run the Giants over the last 8+ years, I'm not so sure that all the coaches on the outside looking in think that John Mara is that big of an advantage over Stephen Ross.
Pick him.
I would like to think, and this isn't the Giant fan in me, I would like to think that Mara's just gone off the rails here and can be brought back, because he wasn't necessarily like this at the beginning of his co-ownership, whereas Stephen Ross has been pretty consistent. I mean, he's enthusiastic and he's willing to spend money. He just doesn't really know what he's doing. But then again, the other guy
is not spending money
and
doesn't know what he's doing.
Certainly not lately. Certainly not lately. So,
I mean, you're at the hope stage. Winning is completely gone. All you have left as a Giants fan is hope. And here's your hope. Boy, I really hope my owner doesn't mess with my general manager. And that's a tough ask because owners like to stick their fingers in things.
Oh, and that's why if Dable is the choice for the Dolphins, and if they aggressively today or tomorrow pursue him and offer him, if he doesn't say yes, it should be a huge alarm to Dolphins, because look at the two team situations right now. I mean, the Giants are tied with the Jets for the worst record in the league over the last 5 years. And I think they have one of the 3 worst records in the league over the last 10. They are over the cap, and they don't literally have one single player on the roster that you would consider an untouchable. I mean, they do not have one great player. The Dolphins, meanwhile, have had back-to-back winning seasons, have cap room,
and have players on their roster that other teams would actively pursue and would start immediately on damn near every. I mean, they do. They have guys that would start for every team in the league. Good.
Yes, they do. And if you can't get a guy if you're Miami right now, I know most people don't think of the Dolphins as a better franchise than most of the other teams in the NFL, but current state of affairs. I mean, Dolphins job or Giants job?
Dolphins job's a better job. It's not close.
For the next couple of years, it is. It should be.
But I'm just talking right now today, resources, because as a coach, you're trying to build. You think you're there for 3-4 years. Where do I have the better opportunity to build a winning franchise? It's not close that it's Miami right now, David.
Now,
if you should decide, but if you decide between Jacksonville and the Giants, well, then you probably want to stay in New York. But when it's between Miami and the Giants, David, it's not close.
Oh, I got to be honest. I think the Jacksonville job's better than both of those other jobs.
Did you get Trevor's Lawrence?
Yeah, and I got $60 million in cap room. And in theory,
but from an ownership standpoint, you have to admit that.
That's clearly
he doesn't know what he's doing. Stephen Ross knows what he's doing more than this guy knows what he's doing right now.
Right. But the good thing is that Khan doesn't meddle. He just hires incompetent people, but he doesn't meddle. He actually sits back and lets the incompetent people run the franchise into the ground and goes, damn, I got to hire new people. And then he makes the wrong choices and they run into the ground some more. Man, I got to hire new people. Meanwhile, everything else he touches turns to gold.
Everything.
Can't hire 3 competent people with the Jags. Be nice. Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. Great show lined up for you. Pat Kirwan next hour. We talked a little bit about the Giants. We will get the skinny on what's going on with them and whether or not they're going to win the battle for Brian Dable, or does Brian Flores still have a chance? And for that matter, Dan Quinn interviewed yesterday. And you would think he's on a short list too. And one of our favorites, Pat Reusse, will join us in a little more than 2 hours' time. One, to talk about the Vikings, one of the 4 teams out there that need to hire both a GM and a coach. And yesterday they hired a general manager. But also, Reusse's a Baseball Hall of Fame voter.
Yes, he is.
And so we'll get into it with him because he's not shy with his opinions.
No.
And we're not shy with our questions. So this could be lively.
This could lead to an interesting discussion if we're on opposite sides.
I think it'll be fun.
Oh, there's never a time that it's not fun with Pat Reusse on the show.
And it'll definitely be a little snarky.
He is the king of snark.
And he brings it out of us, too, because goodness knows it's in there. We just try to keep it hidden. It's kind of like that famous scene from Mary Tyler Moore. You know, Lou Grant looks at her and goes, "You've got spunk." And she's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I hate spunk." Miller and Moulton, 16 minutes after the hour. Thanks for being with us on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals. The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Chuckles. Wow, she's up 3-0 in this set.
She was up 40-15, and Swatek hit a running backhand winner, and then Collins screwed up 40-30. So yeah, she didn't see Swatek. What's interesting is, does she get a first serve?
I think she is. They threw another ball.
So
she controls the.
Yeah, she should. I'm totally with you. I think the server should be dictating.
Screw you. I hate that. Oh, we're locked into some serious Aussie Open going on right now in here, Twitch chat room.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Moulton.
She's got a 28-year-old American who's 2 games away from her first Grand Slam final.
I was talking to somebody the other day, my buddy Smig, we were talking about Maddie. Just, hey, she can play any sport. I said, except tennis. Tennis is out. I have to trust my old producer on this one. All tennis players are crazy. I have not hit a running backhand winner in over 30 years, Chris.
Mark, have you ever played pickleball?
No, and I don't think I ever will.
No, you gotta play.
No, I don't. I'm not old enough. I'm not old enough.
Hell, I even played it.
No. I actually want to start playing tennis a little bit again. When did they put a serve clock in? Did they?
What, for how many miles an hour? Oh,
he's saying, like, is there there's not a pitch clock or a countdown clock for a serve, is there?
Like in between points? Yeah. No, except when Nadal plays, because he takes forever.
Adam, I have not hit a tennis ball in so long. I think we've got 2 old Prince rackets that the wife had restrung, and since she's had them restrung, I don't think they've been used. Pretty sure she hasn't used them. Sure as hell no, I haven't.
DC. I don't know if this answers your question, but defense?
No.
No.
Yeah, Wancho, I don't know what you mean by serve clock. Like, I mean,
Oh,
well, I would be fine with flow, but I would need to hear. I mean, think about it. You're a new GM. I mean, you need to hear from Brian. Okay, so what was going on with you and Flores
10 seconds.
or
Greer.
Greer? And for that matter, you went through 3 offense coordinators in 3 years.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Final Thursday of January. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan in a little more than an hour. Did you see the half-court shot that Miami hit to win last
did.
night?
Not live, but I did see it.
That's cool.
It's fantastic.
For a game winner, too. Not end of the half, end of, or NBA end of the quarter. No. 2 seconds, we inbound it, take a couple dribbles, and just let it fly.
You know what else is cool? Following the show on Twitch.
Oh, for goodness
Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton for you folks in Lake City, St. Pete, Tampa, now in Port Charlotte on 1070 The Zone. Welcome aboard.
1070 The Zone.
And Southwest Florida's ESPN. Join us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. You can watch the show. You can interact with our diehards in the Twitch chat room. And follow and subscribe if you would like as well. You can text the show as well. FSN Radio.
They are up early in the Twitch chat room. And I mean, they're raring to go, too.
6 a.m.
Yes.
We fire that sucker live. They are ready.
They are ready. They already got questions. I mean, a lot of questions for this early in the morning.
Questions and critiques early. I love when people say, you sound tired. What happened to you yesterday?
Right. Just, how do you know? All right. Already got comments on my shirt. I just, man, can tell what kind of a week it's been already.
I like when you go pumpkin on us.
What are you talking about, pumpkin? This is like pink. What color do you think it is?
Somewhere between orange and pink. It looks like it was orange once and it's faded into a salmon color.
No, I think it was salmon once. It's now faded to pink.
Okay.
I don't know. Hey, it fits and it's clean. Come on now. I can't blame it on the wife being out of town because I'm the one that does the laundry. All right. There are 2 areas, 25 years of marriage. Listen, there are places that I'm not allowed to go. There are places she's not allowed to go. Leave the dishes and the laundry to me.
I've got to say, she's got that, and she's got it covered pretty good. She's got you playing house husband at a very good rate. Neither of you cook.
Right.
So it's not like she's responsible for the kitchen. And you're taking care of, I know you take care of the checking account because it's got to be to the penny or you're going to lose. My wife was off $10.84.
Oh, my goodness.
And I mean, you would have thought the world ended in our house.
I can't believe your house is functioning.
And I looked at my phone and I said, nope, I'm right where I wanted to be. Opened up the account and said, yep, there's my balance.
I'm okay with being, I don't have to be to the penny with the checkbook. I really don't. Like right now, there's like a $1.37 discrepancy, whatever. I don't care. All right. I just want to make sure, we had our identity stolen once. That's all I'm really checking. Anybody steal any money?
But I mean,
no, good.
You take care of that. Take care of the laundry.
Right.
And you take care of the dishwasher.
Yeah. She can't load the dish. I love her madly, but it just.
What woman can?
I don't know. I only live with one. So I don't know.
I've found that, and this isn't just friends. I've not heard of many people that sit there and say, my wife loads the dishwasher perfectly, because they're ready for things to be clean. Women want things clean all the time. We can wait. Just like you said, it's clean and it fits. It's all that really mattered. As long as there's one shirt in the drawer that's clean, as a man, we don't have to do laundry. Women with the dishwasher, as soon as, their coffee cup is dirty, they'll run that with 3 things in there just to justify it.
Well, that I've never understood, why we have to wash the dishes before we put them in the dishwasher. But then again, apparently you have to clean the house before the cleaning people come over too. So
bingo.
Certain things I never understood growing up. Then again, we didn't have a dishwasher growing up, and we certainly didn't have a cleaning person. My mother's listening right now going, what in the world are you talking about, a cleaning person?
Yeah, you have to clean before the cleaning person comes. That's common knowledge.
My mom would say, well, I dusted once or twice a year, whether we needed it or not. They're called dust bunnies. My mother used to joke we had dust elephants.
Wow.
Yes, and it was true. Once a year, you move the furniture for whatever reason, and it was like, the dust would like walk itself out. I mean, that's how big the dust was. It was like tumbleweed in the, prairie.
Yep.
That's how big the dust was. It's kind of like, hey, on your way out the door, could you throw this out? Thanks. Appreciate it. That's how big the dust was. Miller and Moulton here on this Thursday. We are geeking out right now. We are actually watching live Australian Open tennis because a 28-year-old from St. Petersburg is 3 points away from advancing to her first Grand Slam final.
Live from down under.
Look at that. He's been waiting, I think, for an hour. He's been here for an hour.
He has literally had his lips perched at the microphone. No idea wanted to say it. I've not acknowledged him all morning, but he just waited for the opening to get that in, and he got it in.
Well, that's not even what I wanted to say. I wanted to add a quick fact about the Hurricanes. 5 of the last 6 games have been decided by a total margin of 8 points. The one other game being the blowout of the Tar Heels. But, yeah, go Canes.
May I ask, did you apply to the University of Miami?
Oh, no.
Couldn't afford it?
No, yeah, you couldn't.
I understand.
It's a private school.
It's very expensive. I get it.
And my test scores are good, but not fantastic.
So you weren't good enough to get into Miami?
I mean, you need like a 1350. I mean, I was flirting more around the 1200 range, like.
So you have FGCU.
I didn't really care.
It was there for you.
Exactly.
FGCU was made for you.
I'll just go. And I wanted to leave too,
So FGC was low-hanging fruit, and you took it?
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
That sounds disrespectful.
No, that's how I chose my. All the places I wanted to go, they said, "Nah, you're not quite worthy of, of us. Sorry."
Yeah.
And so I went to the low-hanging fruit.
Sometimes you got to humble yourself,
Oh, wasn't a problem about that. Miller and Moulton.
Waiting for that point for Felipe.
Yeah, he's not there yet.
No.
Danielle Collins has got match point. In fact, she just had a match point, and it was fended off. So she's a point away from a Grand Slam final. It's kind of exciting.
It's incredibly exciting, particularly when it's someone who's come out of nowhere. She's a 27th seed in this tournament. Obviously not expected. So terrific. And they had Madison Keys was playing earlier. She did not make it through, but 2 Americans in the semis. That's phenomenal. Hey, David, you're a tennis geek.
I am.
When's the last time we had 2 Americans when one of them wasn't named a Williams in a semifinal?
There you go. And by the way, Danielle Collins has just advanced to the finals. 2 American men or women in the semifinals of a major, and neither one of them are the Williams sisters. I'll have to look it up.
That's what I thought,
to be honest. We may have to go back to the early 2000s where maybe Lindsay Davenport and Jennifer Capriati and something like that. We may have to go back almost 20 years, the last time this happened. So, Miller and Moulton. The starting 5
will continue
to update more than just Danielle Collins on the other side. Pat Kirwan in roughly an hour here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
The divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football is simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wancho, they have 25 seconds in between points. It's hardly ever enforced. And in fact, that was the big issue in Nadal's last match. The guy he was playing was like, listen, the shot clock's expiring every single time, and you're not enforcing it. And then Nadal, after losing 2 sets in a row, goes off and takes a 7-minute break, which is longer than you're allowed to take because you have to be injured to be able to take up to 10 minutes.
Hope you're not a big Neil Young fan using Spotify these days.
Oh, wait. I thought he gave Spotify an ultimatum.
Yeah, they took his music off the platform.
Oh, did they?
Because Joe Rogan gets 11 million downloads, okay?
Well, I knew that, but I thought that he then deleted.
No, he told them, him or me.
Right. But I thought they ignored him for like.
Well, they removed it.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay, Neil. Bye.
Right. I was going to say, they're paying Joe Rogan like $250 million, aren't they?
I don't know who's paying him. Is Spotify? Is that who?
I thought that was the deal.
Madison Keys didn't go to college?
Most of them don't. If you think about it, because then you're hitting the tour in your early 20s.
It's true. Look at Coco Gauff, for example.
All right, like poll question. 15. Just going to keep saying that.
Poll question.
If you're the Dolphins, Tua or Deshaun, let's see.
I feel like we've had that before.
I have to admit, I don't know how excited people are going to be about the Super Bowl.
They're not.
I mean, there's no one sexy from the NFC, and
if I think Rams Kansas City has a little bit of more intrigue. I mean, you need the Rams to win because at least you have the thought of offense.
And also, they'll be playing at home, so you'll think that they have more of a chance, even though they'll have as many fans rooting for them as they normally do. How about this? Have you watched any college basketball yet this year?
Well, I was even thinking along those lines yesterday. Now that we're nearing the end of football, what is it you'll watch the most?
Yeah, there you go.
NBA,
NHL, college hoops,
Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, Ozark. Yeah, I like it.
I'm really afraid that Netflix is going to win.
Good.
love how the annual "Does Brady retire?" question has been a question for like the last 7 years, 6
No,
years.
no. It's never even been a thought. When has Tom Brady? I'm being very serious here. You tell me the show that's been done on Tom Brady retiring prior to winning the Super Bowl in Tampa.
Oh, I mean, okay. When he lost to the Titans, everyone was like, actually, no.
No, they weren't.
No,
they weren't. He's always been under contract. He's never once talked about retirement. That's an inaccurate statement, young man.
Okay, maybe not retirement, but how many years he has left? Like, all right, he's going to retire soon, right? Right?
No, Adam, I don't think Leftwich's candidacy to
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
23 minutes before 7 o'clock. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan to join us in a little less than an hour. Pat, a day and an hour earlier than his regularly scheduled second appearance during the season. And then he heads to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. It's a big week for Pat. He's got to do research, for basically the draft.
And it's more nitty gritty. Senior Bowl does not have any real day one players.
That's not true. That's not true now. It used to for the longest time, but in recent years, okay, there actually are more day one players than there used to be.
Okay, there's now maybe a handful. You're going to have 3 or 4 day one players. You'll have a lot of day two players.
Yes.
A lot of day two players and some early day three players.
Absolutely.
But the Senior Bowl is full of second, third, fourth round guys. Then your East-West Shrine game. I tell you, the NFL Network's done a nice job with putting these all on a weekend where basically you're watching the college all-star games. Smart.
Don't disagree. Now, I have to admit, if you're watching Senior Bowl practice next week, we need to talk. And it will be televised, and we need to talk.
Could I convince you to go?
To the Senior Bowl?
Would you do it for a week?
Yeah. Well,
not necessarily a week, but I mean, like, I would think a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Well, you know me, and I actually think the audience would like it too, where, you got 100-something guys there, and they all have a story. And they're all trying to play professionally, improve their draft stock. I mean, I think we can all, it's kind of like football's version of the Olympics. We embrace the Olympics, which, oh, by the way, starts like a week from tomorrow. Talk about something that has no buzz.
None. I mean, the only thing that I've even paid attention to in it is, oh goodness, the skier, the female skier crashed. The American female skier had a bad crash a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, she's out.
That was the only thing that I noticed because she's terrific, and that sucks.
Yes, it does.
Because she's one of the people I was looking forward to watch and compete.
Is it Schifrin?
There you go.
20 minutes before the hour, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Believe it or not, I'm starting with Byron Leftwich, not yet hired as head coach of the Jags, because it had been reported at a couple of different places yesterday that he was the choice. Channel 4 in Jacksonville last night with a report that I don't know if I'd allow go on the air, to be honest with you. They said he is, quote, most likely, unquote, to be the next head coach of the Jags. It kind of reminds me, did you see the weather forecast that they gave out for the greater New York City area for this weekend? 2 to 20 inches is what they predicted. Well, could you be any more vague? I mean, that's like Channel 4 in Jacksonville going, Byron Leftwich is most likely going to be the next head coach. Kind of need to narrow it down a little more than that, don't you? So we'll keep paying attention. They were interviewing Nathaniel Hackett, offense coordinator of the Packers, yesterday, so something's going on. Vikings at least hired a general manager, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who came from Cleveland. He was just with the Browns a year. He was with the Niners 7 years before that. He's 40 years old. He has an economics degree. It's an interesting hire.
Should be able to handle all the cap stuff.
The reports say that Brian Daboll is the top choice for the Dolphins. They may have to compete with the Giants for his services. The advantage that Miami has, if in fact he is their top choice, is that the Giants today and tomorrow are still interviewing people. So you would think the Dolphins would have 24 to 36 hours to nail down Daboll as their coach, if in fact that's who they want. And did you see Rob Gronkowski gave an interview yesterday in which he said, listen, if you ask me today, right now, what I'm doing, I'm retiring. He goes, now, give me a month or two. Let me get away. Let me heal up, the whole deal. And then what he didn't say, I'll see what TB12's doing. But if you're asking me right now, I am sore. I am tired. I am done. Speaking of done, Chris Mack is done at Louisville. They negotiated his buyout yesterday. And I don't know how many people pay attention to college basketball anymore. But, Mark, you have to admit, Chris Mack, when he was hired at Louisville, this was what a great hire. He's a tremendous coach at Xavier, takes him deep into the tournament every year. I mean, Chris Mack was a Sweet 16, went to an Elite 8 guy at Xavier all the time. Goes to Louisville, which outside of Duke and Carolina is probably the best job in the ACC. I mean, they got a 22,000-seat arena that is packed.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's surpassed Virginia.
And that's a basketball school.
No,
too.
that's what I mean. It's surpassed. Virginia would be, and with Louisville in the ACC, it's easily the third best job.
And all the resources, proven track record as a winner.
And he's literally, 90 miles, 100 miles down the road from Xavier to Louisville? It's not like it's not like you're going from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's not like it's this whole new environment. It doesn't make any damn sense, David.
And it didn't work
at all.
3.5 years, and he's out of there. And it will be interesting to see a lot of names being bantied about for the Louisville job. I saw the reporter in The Athletic even threw our buddy Andy Enfield's name out there. Thought that was interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. Gators lost last night. They had an 8-point halftime lead in Knoxville. Ended up losing by 7 to the Vols, 78-71. Florida's 12-8 on the season. Remember when they won that Fort Myers tip-off there, and they were ranked in the top 20?
Right.
And 12-8.
Beat Ohio in that first game. Ohio State, that is. And
Right.
It was a significant win at the time.
It is remarkable. Mike White's another one. I mean, that program, he cannot consistently – that program has been up and down his whole tenure. Arguably game of the night in college basketball, battle of ranked teams. Providence beat Xavier by 3. Georgia Tech beat Florida State by 14. The ending of the night was in Blacksburg, Virginia, tied at 75, less than 2 seconds to go. Canes inbounding at about 1/3 court. Get it to Charlie Moore. He takes 2 dribbles, throws up a half-court shot, and buries it at the buzzer. Canes 78-75 over the Hokies. They lead the ACC, half a game ahead of Duke.
And they're not ranked.
No, and neither's Wake Forest, who's also tied in the loss column, I believe, with Duke and Miami. I think Duke's the only ranked team in the ACC right now. UCF lost to Wichita State 84-79. South Florida lost to SMU 74-54. Every single game in men's college basketball got played last night, Mark. 53 for 53. And for that matter, 43 of 44 got played on the women's side. UCF edged Tulane in South Florida was 6 better than SMU. So college hoops went 96-1 yesterday in games scheduled to be played that got played.
Good. Getting there.
That is good.
No, it truly is.
Words coming out that apparently the fans at the Super Bowl are going to have to wear masks. Remember where the game is being. Yes, that is for the. It's
outdoors. Damn, quit moving the goalposts.
This is not. Obviously, this is not happening from the NFL standpoint. This is a Southern California thing. Makes me wonder what life's going to be like in the booth for us on Sunday. Whether or not all of us not named Joe and Troy and Mike Pereira are going to have to be wearing masks or not. But apparently fans at the Super Bowl at SoFi, it is not a dome. It is a canopy. The sides are open-aired. It looks great at night.
Apparently, the air is not open enough, David.
I can tell you, you can feel a breeze.
Well,
all right, it's open enough. It is, but apparently not open enough for the health officials in Southern California. Felipe's all happy. He came in wearing a Heat jersey. He took it off. He's got it hanging so that we can now see him wearing his Heat sweatshirt. Unbelievable. The Heat dominated the Knicks. They were up by 25 going to the fourth and won by 14, 110-96. Duncan Robinson with 25 points. I will say Jeff Van Gundy was on the call yesterday. He eviscerated the Knicks.
Yes, he did.
I could give him a hug.
I thought you would like that. I listened to that first thing. I didn't watch it, but I listened to it first thing this morning and just cracked up.
Now, not that a whole lot of people care about this, but this to me is what I find fascinating, and I don't know how many people will do the math. Van Gundy and the head coach of the Knicks are tight. Tight. So when Van Gundy is eviscerating the Knicks, how much of this do you think is coming from Jeff Van Gundy, and how much of this do you think is coming from the head coach of the Knicks, but he can't say it publicly?
All of it.
Tom Thibodeau used to be an assistant under him.
Correct. And meanwhile, it seems as if the head coach and the general manager of the Knicks, that the head coach is not necessarily crazy about some of the moves that the general manager's made. But the head coach has gotten in trouble in past lives, getting involved in personnel and being overly critical and what have you. So he's trying to play nice. But obviously he's had enough. And when I heard Jeff Van Gundy eviscerating the starting lineup of the Knicks and complimenting the players on the bench, I took it as a Tom Thibodeau cry for help.
I don't know what else you can take it as.
Don't get me wrong. I think what Thibodeau / Van Gundy are saying is completely correct. But I don't know, find it fascinating. I mean, looks as if we got a little Brian Flores, Chris Greer thing going on in New York. Clippers beat the Orlando Magic 111-102. The Cavs whooped up on the Bucks 115-99. Do you know the Cleveland Cavaliers have a better record than the Milwaukee Bucks? They're 30-19.
The last time the Cavs won 30 of their first 50 games was 1990. A non-LeBron-led Cavs team was 1996.
Lenny Wilkins is their head coach back in the day. I know he's a first-year coach in Indiana, but when you give up 158 points at home and lose by 32, and a team that was expected to be a top 6 team in the East is 17-32, Rick Carlisle is not working out well in Indiana 49 games into his tenure. 158-26 at home.
Didn't have much time to live on that nice win over the Warriors last week, huh?
Whew. Man. NHL, Blackhawks got a hat trick from Dylan Strome, beat the Wings 8-5. What's going on with the Caps? They just lost to San Jose 4-1. Toronto over Anaheim 4-3 in a shootout. Calgary shut out Columbus 6-0. Game of the night, however, in Denver. Avs score in the final minute to force overtime and then win it in OT 4-3. Nathan McKinnon gets hurt. Bloody mess. He got hit in a way where his own stick broke and cut his face. But the Avs have won 17 straight at home, Mark. It's like the 5th longest home winning streak in league history. They're 13-0-1 this month. That's pretty good. Australian Open. Second seed on the men's side, Daniil Medvedev was down 2 sets, ended up winning in 5 to advance to the semis. Nadal's in the semis as well. Top seed Ash Barty took out American Madison Keys, but the top seed will face Danielle Collins, a 28-year-old from St. Petersburg. The 27th seed in the Australian Open. She advanced in straight sets in the semis to her first ever Grand Slam final. She just beat Barty 2 weeks ago in Adelaide over there. So maybe she's got a shot. And Mark, the PGA Tour's Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines got underway yesterday because, well, CBS is televising it, and they can't do golf and the AFC Championship on the same day.
So they had to move it up a day.
So it's a Wednesday through Saturday tournament. Jim Nantz will call the final round from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. No joke. But Billy Horschel, former Gator, went low yesterday, 9 under at Torrey to have a one-shot lead.
Played the easier of the two courses. He shot 9 under. John Rahm 6 under at the tougher of the two courses. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he really is. And he's won there before. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Can I just say something out loud?
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh is going to be in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah. Did you see the news yesterday? One little snippet of news came out of Ann Arbor.
The defensive coordinator
Going back to the NFL.
going to the Ravens?
Yep. That's a tea leaf right there, kids.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so 100%. Guy was there for 1 year. Turned that defense around. Big part of why Michigan was what they were. One or two things. Either everybody's graduating, which they are, and he doesn't want to be a part of it. I don't buy that. Or he's getting out of there before the coach goes. I thought that was a total tell yesterday.
Do you think that him going to the Ravens has anything to do with John Harbaugh?
He coached for Harbaugh before. John Harbaugh recommended him to Jim Harbaugh.
Got it.
Now he's going back.
Because the Ravens, in a bit of a surprise, made a move at defensive coordinator and got rid of Wink Martindale. Wink's not his real first name, but that's what they call him. How could you not?
How could you not?
Right. So you think that, see, I just think that could be unrelated to Jim, but you don't think so.
No.
Okay, fair enough. That's what we do. We read tea leaves.
I saw that and I said, uh-oh.
Well, who was it that we had on? Was it Matt Canada yesterday who said, there's kind of a thought process out there that Jim's going to wait till next Wednesday's second signing day comes and goes, and then he will suddenly be a Las Vegas Raider head coach?
We've heard nothing out of Las Vegas.
No.
Not a damn thing, David.
Well, they're another one. They still have to hire a general manager. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan in about a half an hour here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, So draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So you think Seth doesn't like Poppy?
Yeah. Well, I think he just thinks that there's a little hypocrisy.
Which there is.
I was covering up for days. I don't have the time anymore to cover that stupid thing up. I don't care. I really don't. Purdy. This was a pretty good goal. Look up.
Well, the Canes has to be number one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game winner.
Better be.
Not a lot of fans in Ames there.
Oh.
That was so deep.
Well, that was from the hash.
Little Bob Cousy.
Oh, that's pretty.
Called for it, too.
Lou Will on the lob pass. Lou Will's still out here.
One-handed son of a... Come on!
Come on. What?
Catch me.
Yeah. I feel like that's the go-to half-court shot celebration. Just get out of there. You've got to be kidding me. Really? Just because he dunked on Giannis? Wasn't that much of a body either. I respectfully disagree, ESPN.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, Super Joe, you're not alone in that thinking. I don't think they're going to go there, but I am very surprised that program's not consistently better than what it is.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. Here on the Florida Sports Network, Pat Kirwan to join us coming up in 30 minutes time. What's our poll question?
What are you going to do? I mean, football season is nearing the end. What will you be watching the most of?
3, baby. We're down to 3. Sorry, the Pro Bowl has never counted with us.
The NBA, the NHL, NCAA hoop, or Netflix?
So post-football here, and really there's only 2 days left and 3 games. All right, so what's next?
Looks like Netflix.
Should we have put golf on there?
I thought about it. Because of where we are, where our stations are located.
Right.
St. Pete being such a big golf market. Port Charlotte area, huge golf market. Fort Myers, Naples, huge golf market. I thought about it. But the question's not as much fun with 4 sports answers. It's a lot more fun. I could have probably put the PGA on instead of the NHL, but we got the Lightning. We got the Panthers. They're both good.
Well, what I was thinking was, do you put the basketball together? Should we have gone NBA/college hoops?
No.
Also, the thing is, golf only happens. You can't watch golf every day.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You darn near can.
Close to it.
I mean, it's 4 days a week minimum. This week it's 5.
But is there live golf on every day?
Yeah.
5 of 7 days.
We're going to
4 of 7 days.
Hold on. Just listen. You may not have heard of this channel, and there's a reason why you wouldn't have, because you're about 30 years away from fitting the demo to watch this channel, but it's called the Golf Channel.
Golf Channel. Yeah.
And it actually, believe it or not, is more watched than the NBA network or the NHL network.
In fact, it's more watched than NBA TV, the NHL network, and MLB network combined.
Okay?
No.
Yes.
Up.
There's a lot of, okay. All right, I believe you. All right.
Look it up.
I know that. All right, I'm just going to stick to the show and look this way right now, because I'm going to have an out-of-body experience one of these days.
Oh, it's all right.
But we could have put the PGA on there.
We could have.
It wouldn't have been as much fun. The reason I didn't want to combine basketball is that they're a different fan base.
Very much so. Very much so.
And right now, in fact, 12% of the vote, NBA, 12% of the vote, NHL, 34% of the vote, NCAA hoop, and then Netflix gets the rest. They're not in the majority, David, but they're talking like they could get there.
Miller and Moulton, if you've never texted the show, send FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. If you've already done that, well, then text us. Let us know what's on your mind. Obviously, vote in our poll question at that Mark Miller. I'll retweet it here shortly at the David Moulton. And please, just to appease Mark Miller, could you check us out, Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv channel. And then if you're going to check us out, please follow us. I mean, he gets such a sad face. We didn't pick up a follower yesterday. All right. He wants to win the bet. It means a lot to him. I don't know why. I really don't. But just please, if you could help me out by making Mark Miller happy, I would really appreciate it. The Miller and Moulton twitch.tv channel. And then once you're there, you can just chastise us in the Twitch chat room, which is, fair game.
Texters coming in with their answers, wanting us to have golf included. He says, I'm 34. I love the Golf Channel.
Wow.
So don't you?
Starting early.
Good for him.
You're starting early, sir. At 34, let me tell you, the Golf Channel just jumped up and down. Wait a minute. You mean somebody in the 18 to 34 demo is watching us? Woohoo!
I like the Golf Channel.
What are you talking about?
You
You've never heard of it.
I used to listen. My dad loves golf. All right.
See, just you walking into the room when it's on with someone else in control of the TV doesn't count.
David Faraday makes me laugh.
He's hardly on it anymore. I love his show, though. I love Faraday.
I do too. It's just not something that's appointment. When I watch it, I enjoy it. It's not appointment watching for me. There's not enough time, David.
Well, it's okay. It's like HBO. I mean, there's 137 airings of the same, episode before the next one, so you can catch it.
Yes.
I mean, that's what a Monday at 4:00 is for, Mark.
Yeah.
In between.
Prior to having the 7-year-old, you're right. Mondays at 4, sometimes.
Well, right before you pick her up from gymnastics. That's what I'm saying, Mark.
I got to start watching. I think what it is, David, I got to start watching more things on my phone while I'm at these gymnastics and softball practices. But then I get heat. The problem is, David, when you're at the practice, she knows when I go to the phone. And then after the practice, will give me grief on the ride home. Dad, did you see me do this? Yeah. No, you didn't. You were on your phone. You're watching? Great.
Darn right I'm watching.
You're supposed to be listening to your coach and paying attention, not watching me. That's always my out. It doesn't go anywhere. But Netflix winning the poll question, NCAA hoop, a strong second place. The NHL actually outnumbering the NBA right now.
And we don't want to influence the vote. It's a straight up question. All right. But we have had an ongoing debate for the entire time that the three of us have been together. You got the two, old guys, if you will. I think we're past the point where you say middle age. I mean, we're in our 50s.
We're old.
I mean, come on.
Well, down here, we're middle-aged.
Well, I understand, but are you planning to live to 104?
Hoping.
Wait, I said planning.
No.
Do you think there's any chance
None.
in the world you live to 104?
None.
Right.
None whatsoever.
So I think we're just
not without a lot of transplants, David.
Right, we're on the back nine. I think that's fair to say.
Just hoping to be on 12, not 14, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean, because the course I caddied at in Jersey, they reconfigured it after building it. So the halfway house, which obviously used to be in between the 9th green and the 10th tee, once they reconfigured it, it was in between the 13th green and the 14th tee.
I like that halfway house.
It was amazing how well perfectly located it was. It's right at the point where, first off, the round's either going really well, and you could tell because those people just flew right past it. They went straight to the 14th tee. They ordered after teeing off. That you could always tell the people that were playing well. They walked right past it to the 14th tee. They hit their tee shots, and then they circled back. Or they said to people, order, I want this, and they went to the tee and they hit. Those whose rounds had already gone to you know what, they pulled up a chair. They're like, I could take some time here. There's no need to hurry.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than a good halfway house hot dog. That's a top 10 lifetime food item. It's a life, if it's done right. You get a bad dog at a halfway house, it can ruin your back nine. You get a good dog, good snap, it can make the back nine that much sweeter.
Besides being cold, how do you have a bad hot dog?
Really?
Yeah.
One, it can just be a bad hot dog.
I don't see, that to me is an oxymoron.
Well, if you're Mark, you put ketchup on it, and then it's a bad hot dog.
Well, now I'm with him there.
The bun, the dog to bun ratio.
See, I can get rid of the bun in one bite. All right. If the bun is not satisfactory, I can just get rid of the bun and just grab the hot dog.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Right. I mean, come on. I'm your poor white trash friend. Okay.
I'm just looking at the outfit and going, yeah, I can see this guy. I can see this guy grabbing the dog out of the bun and just, dip it into a.
What are you talking about? The outfit, the shorts that are probably about 2 inches too short, and man, are they old.
Both things that you're wearing
are old.
Yes. There is not a doubt in my mind that you got 20 years. You got 16 to 20 years between the shorts and shirt that you have on.
In fact, I'm 56 years old. There's a chance that this outfit is as old as me. There's a chance. There's a chance. I don't think so, but I do think it's as old as you.
So for radio, I do have to take that back, because I did just after David said I could just get rid of the bun and take the hot dog. I stared him up and down and got a good look and just was picturing David walking around with said dog at hand. You're a corn dog guy, aren't you? Not really.
See, you can have a bad corn dog.
Well, yeah, you can have a bad hot dog.
No, you can't unless it's cold. It's the
overdone.
No, please.
When they're sitting in that little rotisserie thing and they get a little.
What's wrong with that?
A lot.
Yeah, so it's half dead. That's okay. Just grab it. Let's go. Come on now. Nothing a little mustard and relish.
So what
couldn't
you're
cure.
telling me, like, if you add the hot dog scale 1 to 10, you're basically saying that there's not a hot dog that can be made that's worse than a 6 in your eyes. Like, there can't be a 2.
No, it's a hot dog. No.
What about pizza?
Oh no, you could totally screw up pizza. Yeah,
So bad pizza is worse than a bad hot dog in your estimation.
there's no such thing as a bad hot dog. What part of it are you not understanding?
A lot.
There's
obviously.
no such thing. There's only one way. Even if you can scrape the ketchup off a hot dog if somebody mistakenly puts the wrong condiment on it. Or you could just, you scrape most of it off and then you just double down a little bit on the mustard and relish. There's no such thing as a bad hot dog. They're incredible.
You're one of those that like to say, I don't disagree. I just want to tell you, I don't agree. I disagree.
All right. If you say so. No such thing. Unless it's cold.
Well, then there is such thing as a bad hot dog.
No. I just if it's cold, you throw it in the microwave for 15 seconds. Just make it warm. That's all. Now we got rid of the problem. There's never.
Stale bun?
Yeah, you just get rid of it. Done. Like I said, that's not the hot dog problem. You don't need a bun to have a hot dog. You would prefer to have a good bun. By the way, I'm not a toasted bun guy.
It's funny.
That's a poll question.
It's funny. I like a toasted bun, but I went heads up. Toasted. I thought I liked the toasted bun more. And I had 2 dogs, one toasted bun, one untoasted bun. The untoasted bun is a better dog.
Also,
It's a nice treat to have the toasted bun once in a while.
but it has if you're
It's gotta
gonna,
be-
it
gotta be
has to be
perfect.
perfect. See,
It's got to be the form at the Montreal Forum dog. I'm
There you
telling you.
go. So, I don't think you can have a bad hot dog.
Can you? You know what? We have a new poll question.
I don't think it's possible.
I need to know the answer
really
to this from the
don't.
audience. Miller and Moulton, I'm typing a second poll question as we speak. Is there such a thing as a bad hot dog? Yes or no? It's that simple. David Moulton says there is no such thing as a bad hot dog.
There are things that can influence, but the hot dog? No. Come on. First off, a hot dog is indestructible. I mean, let's be honest.
Right. I mean, Keith Richards, hot dogs, cockroaches. That's what survives a nuclear holocaust.
Right. With a possible Willie Nelson. Yes. I mean, the last 4 living things on Earth.
Right.
Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan in about 20 minutes here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You can have a bad hot dog. I got to find out. Speaking of hot dogs, Sonny, we got these people that bring Kogels down every year I gobble them up when I can get them. Either that or I need one of these Michiganders that's driving down for spring break. Yeah, there can be a bad brat, too.
Oh, give me a break.
Can be dry. Someone didn't boil it in beer first and can flat out ruin it. Kidding me? Oh, great. They're in New Mexico. That'll be coming to Florida.
What's that?
Kogel's on the road, my hot dog people. They literally truck all over the country selling Kogel meat from Michigan. No. Oh, Florida tour begins in March. Right, Sonny? A Kogel. I mean, that's the pinnacle of a hot dog. No one even really understands that. So wait a minute, Tim. I'm toasting the bun in the air fryer too?
Now that sounds the way to go. Apparently, I'm the only person that says a hot dog.
Oh, no. I think you'll have people with you.
Mm.
No.
And fam, you looked at her and you said, I am eating a hot dog. Nothing more needs to be said.
Your tweet is fantastic. Fantastic.
A hot dog is a food group onto its own. Listen, Adam, I don't try to tell me how bad a hot dog is for me.
Oh,
I know that. It's kind of like everybody who smokes. They know it's not good for them. They do it anyway. I know a hot dog is not a healthy food item. I don't care.
And Adam, it's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of the Kogel dog from Michigan because they use natural casings.
One minute.
Whenever Cleveland and Milwaukee play again, I am going to take Milwaukee and lay the points. Because they got schooled last night by the Cavs, who were enjoying it. And that veteran Milwaukee team will remember this. And whenever they play again, I am taking Milwaukee in the points.
Hell, Kevin Love.
You know what we should do?
Kevin Love's playing great.
He is.
We should take like 500 out of the Miller and Moulton account and just gamble with it.
That'd be great.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
20 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. We have a poll question, and then we got off track, and Mark threw up another poll question. Because I am convinced there's no such thing as a bad hot dog.
There are a few people that agree with you.
Very few. There's a bunch of food snobs out there. that think that somehow, some way you could screw up a hot dog. A hot dog is indestructible.
I agree with that 100%. It does not mean that the indestruction is then always edible.
It is always edible. All right. One, if you screw up the bun, you can get rid of the bun, and do you know what it remains? A hot dog.
It doesn't mean it can't be bad. That is the crux of where we are in this. David Moulton says that no matter what, bad bun, burnt, cold, you can make a hot dog good. And okay. I vehemently disagree with it.
All right. So you're grilling, and the one hot dog is left on there too long, and it gets burnt. All right. Were you and your family, did you throw that dog out?
I've thrown hot dogs away before, yes.
So you would not eat the burnt
I've eaten the dog. I'm not saying that I've not. Again, David, there is a huge difference here between what I consume and what I say is good and bad. I have eaten a lot of bad food in my life. I try not to anymore. But yes, when you put that dog on a stick,
right?
I almost went Mandich there. I felt like when you put that dog on a stick,
and you dress that sucker up at the end of the day, a pig is still a pig.
And you put that hot dog stick on the flaming campfire and you burn it to a crisp. That dog tastes terrible. Terrible. It's a bad hot dog.
No, it's not.
And it's on you for burning it, and you still eat it because it's the hot dog that you got, but it's not good.
No such thing. No such thing. It is indestructible. It is a food group unto itself. All right. It is simply the hot dog.
And it is not a sandwich.
No. Thank you. I'm glad we agree upon that. Otherwise, this radio marriage was in trouble.
Our original poll question was, what are you going to watch?
Whatever.
Now that football is nearly over. Person says hockey season starts after the Super Bowl for me, but since I'm a Habs fan, I'm probably not watching much this year.
No, you're not. So NBA, college hoops, NHL, Netflix are your four choices as to what it is you are watching now that, come on now, it's just 2 more days, 3 games. That's all you got left. Got to find something else to occupy your time. Otherwise, you're going to have to talk to your friends and family. And we all know you don't want to do that.
Text line is very heated this morning. You can text the show by texting FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. This person says apparently David has never had an off-brand hot dog before. And based on this, he probably boils them too.
No, I do not. Okay. But just telling you, it's indestructible. That's all.
And also, when we talked about what survives a nuclear disaster, a few people have chimed in and said, you forgot Twinkies. Yes, we did. That's what Keith and Willie are going to eat with the hot dog.
Well, yeah, it's dessert. You know, you have hot dogs, and then what are we having for dessert? We're having Twinkies. That's what we're having. Breaking news, by the way. Packers offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett is the Denver Broncos head coach. This is a little bit of a surprise in that the thought when the whole coaching carousel began was that Denver's job was Dan Quinn's to lose. Now, Hackett is interesting in his own right. First off, he's an offensive guy, and what have they struggled with lately in Denver? They've struggled with developing a quarterback, and they've struggled offensively. But secondly, where is he coming from, Mark?
Green Bay.
Right. Have Denver been linked with a veteran quarterback who may be on the move in the last 12 months?
A little bit.
Considering it was Denver that was the most aggressive team in trying to acquire Aaron Rodgers leading into the draft. And the Packers said, we are not trading him. And Denver threw their best offer at him to change their mind. And Green Bay said, we're still not trading him. So Nathaniel Hackett, who Aaron Rodgers has spoke well of in the past, he is now the head coach. One would think if Aaron decides here in the next 4 weeks, which is when he's likely to make his decision, according to him, that he is in fact on the move, Denver would be a top, at worst, 5 candidate, if not top 3. And now there is familiarity. Head coach, what the scheme would be.
Right.
So Nathaniel Hackett will be the new head coach of the Denver Broncos, the first of the 9, right?
Just trying to figure out that division now. Justin Herbert, Chargers. Mr. Mahomes in Kansas City.
Right.
You've got Rodgers in Denver based on this move.
Well, it's
and Jim Harbaugh is going to coach the Vegas Raiders. The division got really sexy overnight.
Okay. Now, Harbaugh is not going to coach the Raiders that we know of. Aaron Rodgers is not going to Denver that we know of.
I said you have him going. You have him going to Denver. You just made that link, and I know he's not going there. And I have made the link that Jim Harbaugh is coaching in the NFL next year.
All right. So Denver's hired a head coach. We have Minnesota. We have Chicago. We have the Giants. All right. We have Houston. We have Miami. We have Jacksonville.
We have Vegas.
We have Vegas. And there's one more. No, New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah. So there you go. Still have 8 open.
And it still looks as if Leftwich is the guy for the Jags. But
there was another report this morning, right?
Yes.
That it's going to be Leftwich in Jacksonville?
Yes.
Do you know they interviewed Nathaniel Hackett yesterday afternoon? I'm telling you, if this is such a foregone conclusion, why have we not come to it?
I am just reporting on what I have observed.
And I am curious, not just to Adam, our big Jags fan in our Twitch chat room, but to the 4 to 13 others of you that are a Jags fan. Do you want Byron Leftwich?
Hey, we're on in Lake City now. It's 13-17.
Well, that's true because it's within an hour of Jacksonville. But do you want Leftwich? We all know former first-round pick of the Jags, and he's been the offense coordinator in Tampa, and Brady has spoken glowingly of him. Great. Never been a head coach before. That's my only concern. I think it's a legitimate one because I don't know that this franchise can afford another day of training wheels, to be brutally honest. This franchise needs an adult. It needed it yesterday, and this franchise desperately has to start moving forward.
Another situation where a GM is staying, I think it's limiting who wants to coach there, David.
I agree with you. That Greer in Miami is not a positive in terms of who the Dolphins are pursuing as head coach. And
Trent Baalke's not a positive at all.
No.
And I think more of a negative than even Greer is in Miami, David.
Miller and Moulton. We'll talk to Pat Kirwan about Nathaniel Hackett, the coaching carousel, and get his thoughts on the AFC and NFC championships. We'll talk to Pat before he heads to Kansas City and then Mobile in the Senior Bowl. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening here on the Florida Sports Network. We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Who was after me about being a food snob? Because I am, but not as bad as whoever asked me here. Trying to find the name there. Oh, Balducci there. Yeah, I to a bit, but I'm a tailgate style foodie. Would be more than a Food Channel foodie, because I go to gas stations and eat all the time. Like, there are 2 gas stations within 4 miles of here. One that I can get great Cuban food at, and another one that I can get great tacos at. And trust me, neither place is all that clean, so I'm not a snob that I've got to sit down with a wine and cheese crowd. But I do like high-end food too. So yeah, I am picky. I hate fast food. And I'm not a big fan of chains.
I don't have any of those problems, for the record.
Nope. That's true.
Now that football season is over. Boy, Netflix right now, strong. I am going to watch all of Ozark. But
I do like that the NBA. I am very interested in how this poll turns out, for the record.
yeah, well, right now it's
Pretty even.
Netflix at 40 and everything else is around 20 each.
Right.
So
What do you give it on a scale of 1 to 10, Hops? Really? Worst of the seasons, then, is what you're telling me.
Pat's on hold, 15 seconds. Bada bing, bada boom.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"24 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Our poll question, with the football season winding down, at least the playing of the game season winding down, what are you going to turn to next? We strategically did not include NFL offseason because we knew that would win. NBA, NHL, college hoops, Netflix, those are your choices. We know what Pat's vote would be. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekday afternoons from 3 to 7 Eastern. Also part of CBS's NFL Today show, which is where Pat is headed next to Kansas City, on location for the AFC Championship game. Pat's weekly appearances brought to you by Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, and all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well and getting excited about these games, getting closer now. To your poll question, you left out the USFL. Just want to sneak that in there.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. Anytime we can get a mention of spring football leagues that will more than likely fail, I'm always a fan of it.
Pat, I could hug you right now.
Hey, I'm just telling you, there'll be people watching, and I'll be one of them, because there'll be players that are going to surface as NFL candidates.
Mark, what is interesting, it's going to be on Fox and NBC, and both networks are going to air the first weekend simultaneously. I can't remember in our lifetimes when two major sports, I mean, you got to go back to like Super Bowl I, the last time that more than one network, competing networks, said we're going to air the same game at the same time. I find that in and of itself fascinating.
Hey, good luck to him. You know my thoughts on these spring leagues. Let's make sure you go out and hire some really expensive coaches and spend all your money on your front office, not on your ticket staff, because that's how leagues seem to survive like this. I mean, they all fail. This one will fail too. And Pat's right. People will watch because there's NFL prospects. All things can be true in this one. All right, Pat. It looks as if the Denver Broncos have hired their man. They get the Packers OC. Just give us a little background on this guy, and do you think this means that Rodgers is coming aboard with him?
No, I don't think it means that at all. I mean, people talk about Rodgers like he has a free will in this thing. He has no free will. He has a contract. I knew his father. His father was a terrific West Coast guy, and a lot of people would lean on him for the expansion of the West Coast offense. He certainly was influenced by his father, but it seems to me a lot of guys come out of Green Bay, whether it's the Favre or this year, and it's like, hey, I worked with Rodgers or I worked with Brett Favre, and I deserve a head coaching job. I'd be really careful of those things, but I think he's got a tough job ahead of him. They really don't have a quarterback on the team, and he's going to find out that his playbook's not going to work there until he finds one. I don't think it's going to be Rodgers, and I don't think if they hired him thinking they were going to get Rodgers, what a mistake. That doesn't flush with me. I think that's kind of like, it's easy to say right now, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's got a hard job, and then there's going to be an ownership change, which can lead to a lot of different things in the building, and it's a pretty volatile situation. They got a nice defense, but the guy who ran the defense was the head coach, and Eddie Donatel. I don't know what they're going to do about making that defense look the same as they did this year. So I don't like the job, and I think he's going to have a hard road ahead of him.
His father's Paul Hackett. All right. Long-time quarterback coach, offensive coordinator for, I don't know, about 6-8 teams in the league. Pat, I think you were with him with the Jets. He was also with the Bucks amongst his many NFL, and he had a few college stops as well. Pat, do you think you're in the minority or majority view about the Denver job? Because the national media outside of you has been saying that this is one of the premier jobs that's available, and you looked at it as exactly the opposite.
Well, there's a law firm of Mahomes and Herbert, and if you really, and they don't lose cases. So that's the first issue. That's really where it starts and ends. I was in a division with the law firm of Marino and Kelly. and you're banging your head against the wall all day, every day for decades. And you got to think of those two quarterbacks as being around for the next decade. And we've seen what impactful quarterbacks have done to divisions. Look how many coaches got fired in the AFC East because of Brady. Look how many coaches got fired in the NFC North because of Favre. And I think Mahomes and Herbert are going to do damage to whoever gets these jobs. There is no chance in the next 3 years, unless you've got Rodgers, which you're not. Would you think you could catch up to those guys? So that's why I don't like the job.
All right, Pat, I'm curious. My last job about the coaching before we get into some of the games is Miami and Jacksonville both have GMs in place. Miami wants to get the same guy the Giants want to get. How much do you think Greer and Balky are hurting coaching candidates that these teams are trying, that owners may want? Do you think these GMs that are already in place are actually hurting the coaches who want to take the job?
Well, you got to get off of the job first and iron out contractual issues and everything else, and then accept the job. So I think all that stuff should be happening in the next day or so. But as soon as we get to Sunday, they're going to have the same old weekly moratorium on it. And then Monday starts the Senior Bowl stuff. So I would think today and tomorrow, get offered and knock out the numbers and accept the job. I think and I do think there'll be a domino effect. So if you're Dable, and that's who you're referencing coming out of Buffalo, he has to look at these jobs and compare them and think about what's going on. Now, the ownership and the new general manager at the Giants have been, in my opinion, very clear about, we're keeping Daniel Jones and we think Saquon Barkley is really good. And if you're a head coach candidate, you have to start weighing that. Well, I'm not even there yet, and they're telling me who the quarterback is, and they're telling me, who the running back is. I think sometimes you gotta give the head coach wiggle room to want the job, and he's got to think: does he want to go to a place that's going to dictate his roster? I think a lot of guys that know what's going on in this business shy away from those kind of jobs. So you don't really hear much coming out of Miami about who you have to keep, but I think David's Giants are starting to kind of put the roadmap in front of whoever the coach is going to be. So,
well,
I think he'd probably lean on the Dolphins.
Well, and Pat, I actually think Miami's situation is similar to the Giants in this respect. From what we have heard from the owner and the general manager, they're married to Tua at least for this coming season. Now, whether or not they'll pick up his fifth-year option after it, same with, I think, Daniel Jones and the Giants. Like, if I'm interviewing for the Giants job, I would be asking the GM, are you picking up his fifth-year option before May? I need to know that right now, because if you are, then clearly you're planning on this guy being my quarterback for 2 years. And as opposed to in Miami, it's like, well, we're going to play it out for a year and see where we go. If you were Dable, which job looks more appealing to you, the Giants or the Dolphins?
I mean, there's great history at the Giants as a franchise, and a lot of guys have wanted to go there. They've been extremely volatile, as we all know, with 2-year firings. If you ask that question to both places, then you got basically told in Miami, well, you can spend a year evaluating Tua, and if you want to go a different direction, we will. If you heard that, as opposed to what John Mara said, we've done everything to screw up Daniel Jones, which sounds to me like we hired a GM to fix that, and we're going to keep him. And you might like Daniel Jones, and that sounds great to you. But if you don't like him, or more importantly, philosophically, you want to be in charge of that, I think you're finding out pretty quickly at the Giants job that you're not going to be in charge of that. You just coach the players we give you. And I think guys that have been around, now Daboll has been influenced by Belichick. And what does he know about that formula? That nobody has any say over what Belichick really does. He manages the whole thing. So a lot of those Patriot guys understand that formula works, and some of the other ones don't. Look, I mean, he might take the Giant job while we're talking here. I don't know, but you can't be choosy when you're a guy trying to be a head coach in this business. There's not a lot of great ones that are open. What jobs are open that you say there's a lot to be a great team? And these guys are they won't be worried because they don't really care at the end about in 2 years they're going to get fired. They don't think that way. They're thinking, I finally got my head coaching job and I know how to win. That's what they really all think. And then they find out the reality is they're on the chopping block in 2 years.
All right, let's get to the games, Pat. San Francisco and the Rams. Why can it be different for the Rams this time? We all know that they've lost quite a few in a row here now to the Niners. The matchup is not good for the Rams. Is there a reason why we should think it's going to be different this time?
Well, that's the hardest game of the two, and it's a tough question. Look, the players are probably a lot of things. They do not see themselves as intimidated by San Francisco, although they should be. They're going to think that Odell and Von Miller and Matt Stafford are changing the way things are. Now, we know they've already lost twice, so it's really hard to beat someone 3 times. That's just the reality of this league. NFL players are not like college kids. They don't say, oh, my God, here comes Alabama. They don't think that way. They basically think, we can beat these guys. And they're going to think that now, they're probably furious that those ticket sales are going in the wrong direction. And that's embarrassing. And it happened to us at the Jets. You know, you find the Dallas Cowboy fans overwhelm the stadium when they would come in to play us, which would be once every 4 years or so. When the Raider fans came to town, somehow they got all the Jet tickets too. And it really bothered our players. It bothered our coaches. And you always felt like with no home field advantage, you've lost one of the things you need. And the last time they played the silent count stuff, I think, and then they're talking to Juszczyk the other day, they got these 4 jokers. And that's when I discussed it with him, he was all about discussing it with me. They have 4 guys. I was saying this to David the other day. Juszczyk, Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. If you look at all the places they line up, and I got into it, Juszczyk, you think about it, Juszczyk lines up at about 4 different spots. Debo's about 5 different spots. Ayuk is about 3 spots now, and Kittle's about 4 spots. So you really can't tell your defense any tips about, hey, when Debo's the running back, because you got to finish the sentence. Is Kittle in the flex position? Is Juszczyk in the backfield? And so they really have these 4 guys that make it impossible to be prepared to have a tip and be able to play fast. So I think San Francisco still has a lot of ways to beat them. They are confident they can, and I think the game is going to go back and forth. Now, it peels back to Garoppolo versus Stafford, and there's a ghost in the closet of both of these guys, and we'll see. But I think if you ask me to pick the game now, I'd pick San Francisco.
And my initial reaction is to take the Rams, but if you think about it, San Francisco, they get pressure on a passer without blitzing.
Yep.
And they run the ball. And both those things show up every week. And the Rams have not consistently gotten pressure on Niners quarterbacks who also only throw it about 20 times a game. And the Rams can't run on the Niners. It's all on Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and I think the Rams go as Cup goes when it comes to big plays. The guy has 2 touchdowns in 7 games against San Francisco. And that 4-man rush that you referenced, David, without having to do anything else, is more than effective. They've gotten after, this guy. And look at just the 2 games this year. They sacked the guy 7 times, Stafford, and they intercepted him 4 times. So you get 3 interceptions, 1 interception and 3 sacks to go along with that run game, which, I had a guy yesterday who was like really into the Rams. And I said, look, stop telling me about the Rams. Just tell me how you're going to stop San Francisco's running attack, because that's the base foundation. 291 yards in 2 games against the Rams. And here's the best part, 75 running plays. You're going to see 35 to 40 run plays. And they haven't shown they can stop that.
And San Francisco also, Shanahan is a play caller. Remember, they trailed 17-0 late second quarter in the last meeting and came back and won in overtime. And he kept running the ball while behind in the game. We're talking with Pat Kirwan, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. All right. They played less than a month ago. Yeah, it was in Cincinnati, and obviously that's significant. But, Joe Burrow's still completing passes against the Chiefs, and they beat them. Why can't they do it again?
They can do it again. Going to Kansas City, I think, is worth points for the Kansas City Chiefs. Home field is ridiculous. We were on the set there for the last one they played Tennessee in the championship game. We couldn't even hear ourselves talking at all. And forget the headset. I'm standing literally next to Boomer. He can't hear me, so I had to start writing things down, and he's about 2 feet away. So it'll be tougher to go in there and try to do what they want to do. But they have the weapons. You look at those 3 receivers, and you think about what they did to that secondary of Kansas City the last time. Between Chase and Higgins and Boyd, they could, and this is scary. Everyone knows the number 18 to 364 yards and 4 touchdowns, but they were over 20 yards a catch as a group. I don't think they're going to play. Funny, I talked to Adam Pac-Man Jones yesterday about this. I do not think that Spags will play bump and run on our friend Chase, but Adam thought that's the best way to play him. I was like, I don't think so. The thing I would do a little bit more is I would consider 3-man rush more than normal if I was Kansas City, because you start looking at as soon as you kind of flood Chase, they go right to Higgins, and Higgins can kill you. There's going to be times you're going to want to double both of those, and you can't do that unless you're in a 3-man rush. So we might see some 3-man rush, and I think a lot of times these teams, they're not much different in 3-man than they are in 4-man.
Cincinnati, well, we're running up on time, so you've got San Francisco in the first game. I'm guessing you're going with Kansas City. How close do you think it'll be?
So I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be over 60 points in this game because both of these quarterbacks can turn it loose, and they will. And we saw a guy survive 9 sacks, which is amazing, to win anyway. He won't get sacked 9 times against these guys. But I could see this game, I don't know, 38-35, something like that. And I'm going to give Kansas City at the end. Mahomes lately has been on fire. He's only thrown 1 pick in his last 192 throws. And he's back to where he was when they were great. The last 7 games, they're scoring 37 points a game. Why don't I think they can do it again against these guys? So 38-35, Kansas City.
He's Pat Kirwan. He's on his way to Kansas City, part of CBS's NFL Today show. And, of course, between now and then, he will have 2 or 3 moving the chains on NFL radio. Pat, safe travels. We will talk again from Mobile next week.
Yep, and I got to say it, Mark. Your anger for the USFL front office and ticket salespeople, just remember, none of them had jobs till this league started again.
It's not anger. It's just reality.
He's Pat Kirwan. We are Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football is simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You talking about the thing they're doing in L.A.? Trenton, is that what we're speaking of here? The Clash at the Coliseum or whatever it is they're calling that thing? I think it's kick-ass. I'm all in. All in. Saw the video last week of the drone shots and some of that stuff. It looks really cool. Love that stuff. Love that they played a football game at Bristol. Love any time that they do something that's out of the box with these sports. I love it.
You know, Hops, I did not check if there was a John Smith subs in Lake City.
Could be. I laughed my tail off. It was either yesterday or the day before. I'm talking to my kid, and he starts getting into the new, telling me that Kyle Larson's already won the championship. Oh, really? Why? Well, because of the new horsepower rules, and he goes for, I don't know, minute and a half on horsepower and all sorts of other NASCAR-isms, and I just kind of nodded along. They're running cars not like they run at Darlington. A lot more downforce with the horsepower, David.
Love it. Absolutely love it. He's so full of it right now, but it sounds so good. He'll throw in a little accent here soon.
Oh, no, he knew who he was. Named songs, too, and sang one of them badly. Did you eat meatloaf in Wisconsin?
No. No place that I was at had it.
I will say the NBC game, they hit us up with some meatloaf early in the music.
Yes, they did. Yep.
Thought that was good.
I thought we did too.
Did you?
I thought we did. And we're usually, the Fox guys are the best with the music.
The best. But like I told you, first half I was doing a little running around. I didn't see first quarter in Tampa. I listened to first. There's another one I would listen to.
I have had meatloaf in my head.
The meal or the song?
The songs. They're just constantly in my head. Although I took a detour, what was it, yesterday or the day before when it was Eddie's birthday? Then I did play a lot of Van Halen for a day. I was lost and you were found.
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Reusse to join us at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk the Vikings. They have a new GM. Who will their next head coach be? Also, he's a Baseball Hall of Fame voter, and we will revisit some of those debates and what he thinks about the whole voting process. Pat Reusse, one of our favorites, in a little more than 30 minutes. It's a pleasure to have Patricia Traina join us once again. Part of GiantsCountry.com, which is under the SI.com umbrella. Also, Locked On is the Giants podcast that she hosts. But you can follow Patricia on Twitter at Patricia_Traina. Patricia, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time again. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Well, we are good. So how was yesterday received, the public debut, if you will, of the new general manager? And quite frankly, at this stage of the game, is there anything that John Mara can say that his constituents are buying?
Well, yesterday was a new day of Giants football. I think everybody can agree, that followed the team, that this year was just like the bottom of the barrel. So there was nowhere to go but up. So anytime you have a change, you have somebody new coming in, there's that air of hope. There's that air that, things are going to get better. So Joe Shane, the new general manager, well received. As far as John Mara and what he can say to gain back the trust of his fan base there, not so much about what he needs to say. It's more about his actions at this point. He can sit there and he can say anything he wants, but if he doesn't back it up with actions, if he does, for example, if he says, "Oh, I'm going to hire the best coach," and then he hires, somebody that's not the best coach, actions speak louder than words. So I think that's what John Mara needs to do if he's to regain the trust of the fan base.
Obviously, anytime someone new's come, it's easy to buy in, but the next hire is the big one. What are you hearing? What are you feeling about who the next head coach of the Giants is going to be?
Yeah, so for the longest time, the gut feeling was Brian Daboll would be the next head coach, offensive mind. You look at what he's done up in Buffalo with Josh Allen. The Giants, of course, have a big investment in Daniel Jones, which to date hasn't really paid off for numerous reasons. But, they also cast a wide enough net to where they are looking at mostly defensive-minded head coaches. And now, the tides might seem to be turning a little bit here where Daboll might end up down in Miami, which would probably leave, my understanding is so far the leading candidates would be Daboll and then maybe Dan Quinn and Brian Flores. Flores, from what I hear, really wants the job. So that said, I think in a perfect world, Daboll would be the guy, but I'm not 100% sure that he's going to pick the Giants because Miami is very much interested in him. And they have, his former college quarterback at Alabama in Tua.
Patricia Traina joining us, the Locked On Giants podcast host. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Follow Patricia on Twitter at Patricia_Traina. Patricia, getting back to John Mara, let's just say Daboll goes to Miami. And I have to believe, since the Giants are interviewing Flores today, and I guess they have another interview scheduled tomorrow, that they may just lose Daboll because of timing. The Dolphins may say, "Hey, we need an answer now," and the Giants are still going about their business, and he can't wait. If it's between Quinn and Flores, and Mara is reportedly on record as really wanting Brian Flores to be seriously considered, won't this show the autonomy of the new general manager right away if it's a choice between Quinn and Flores and he goes with Quinn?
It could, definitely. John Mara has said all along, he said, look, this decision, this head coaching decision, the GM will lead it, but ultimately ownership has to sign off on it. And he says, that's how we've always done it, which is not totally true, because if you go back to 1979, when George Young was hired, he was given full autonomy to make all football decisions, head coach, players, everything. But John Mara, back in the day, obviously wasn't with the team as a full-time employee as he is now. So when he was saying this is how we've always done it, presumably he meant this is how we've always done it since I've been here. So, yeah, I mean, John Mara actually clarified that he reached out to Flores before they had the GM in place, because every candidate they spoke to, when they were asked who would be on their short list of head coaching candidates, mentioned Flores. So John Mara figured, okay, I know this guy's going to get a lot of offers, requests for interviews. Let me throw my hat in the ring and say, hey, look, we're interested too, even though we don't have our GM yet. You're on the list of every guy we've talked to. So, and Flores, of course, is a New York native. I believe he grew up in Brooklyn. So this would be sort of like a homecoming for him. But yeah, I think, in a perfect world, you'd let the GM make that decision and you'd get out of the way for your ownership. But they signed the check, so they can do what they want, I guess.
How close are they? I mean, the Senior Bowl's next week. These are important things for a coaching staff. Are they, in your estimation, ready to pull the trigger here in the next 48 hours?
I would say by Saturday morning. We asked John Mara that yesterday, and I think ideally, he also has Leslie Frazier coming in for a second interview, I believe, on Friday. So I would say probably by Saturday. I mean, as early as Friday night, by Saturday at the latest. Now, John Mara did say there was a outside chance that the search could go into next week, that they could add a couple more candidates if they're not convinced of any of the guys who've spoken with, or if guys start dropping out of the race because they've taken jobs elsewhere. But you're absolutely right. You ideally want to have a head coach as soon as possible, because the Senior Bowl, not only is it a chance to get a jump start on scouting players in person, but it's also a hotbed for coaching networking. A lot of guys go down there looking for jobs and they network, and that's how, some new head coaches find assistants.
Patricia Traina, GiantsCountry.com, which is part of the SI.com umbrella, and host of the Locked On Giants podcast. You can follow Patricia on Twitter at Patricia_Traina. Patricia, thanks for your time and your insight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. You be safe.
Patricia Traina joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Well, if the Dolphins lose Dable, I think it shows, quite frankly, that this is not a desirable job. A guy who's never been a head coach before, he is excited, reportedly, about the prospect of Tua. And he's their number one choice, reportedly, and they've got a 48-hour jump on the Giants. I mean, just out of courtesy alone, the Giants have Flores today and Leslie Frazier in the morning Friday. I mean, out of courtesy alone, they can't offer anybody the job till basically dinner time Friday.
Right.
You would think that the Dolphins have 36 hours to get Dable
to get this done.
And if they can't, like, I understand if Dan Quinn turns a job down. He's been a head coach. He's taken a team to a Super Bowl. He probably can, Pat's old line about
he's interviewing the owner. The
Bingo.
Interviewer's not interviewing him.
And so I get it if experienced head coaches turn somebody down. But if you're looking for your first ever gig, I mean, there's not a lot of, Josh McDaniels really, even though he took the Denver job, but since then, there are very few people that are that picky, especially as an assistant.
And as we've mentioned throughout, it would reflect on Dolphins ownership, and that people don't trust working for Stephen Ross as something that's going to be a viable career move. And Buffalo's got it going on. I get it. But there's no way we can sit there and look at Buffalo right now and say, well, that's the next Patriots. They've got it for 2 decades. And as Pat has said many times on the show, coaches don't go into any job thinking they're not going to be successful.
Right.
They're not accepting jobs because they think if they're not taking the job, they actually are saying going in that ownership is not going to allow me to be successful.
Right. Don't know if I can win here with blank. Now it's the 3-headed monster. It's ownership, it's GM, head coach, or if you get past ownership, it's GM, head coach, quarterback. So that's, there are 3 legitimate hurdles for the Dolphins: ownership, legitimate concerns. Greer, legitimate concerns. And hey, there are some people who don't think Tua is the answer.
Well, I don't know if he is or not, and you and I are more supportive of Tua than most.
Right.
But there's still a lot of questions. And you and I would both agree that with Tua, there are still a ton of questions.
The one stumbling block I would have, and I think it's legitimate, if I'm interviewing with the Giants, like I get it. Daniel Jones is who I'm going to have to work with in 2022. But the new GM of the Giants has to make a decision by basically 2 days after the draft, whether or not he's picking up the 5th-year option on Daniel Jones. So when you're interviewing with the Giants, you are asking, hey, you picking up his option? And if he goes, I don't know, as a head coach candidate, I'm sorry, I need a better answer than that. I need to know if I'm married to this guy for 2 years. Because 2 years is just enough time to get fired. 1 year, if we can move on,
Yeah, I mean,
we
just watched 2 one-year coaches get fired, but that is the exception, really not the rule. I mean, you really got to screw things up to get one and done.
And you got to remember, 3 coaches in a row with the Giants have been 2 and done. So if you're Dable or whoever, you're like, I need to know, are you picking up his option, yes or no? My guess is, by the way, that they are, for this simple reason. The 5th-year option's $21 million. Say you move on from Daniel Jones. Tough to get a starting quarterback for less than $21 million. Even if they're just a serviceable
Unless you're drafting them, it's damn near impossible,
exactly.
David.
And that's also part of the interview. It's like, hey, is your gut feeling, we got picks 5 and 7. Is your gut feeling you want to spend one of them on a quarterback?
Because if you're going to not go with Daniel Jones, the guys that you're getting for that kind of money are the Mitchell Trubiskys of the world.
Right. Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be able to get Jimmy G for $21 million.
No.
First off, I think he's scheduled to make in the low 20s next year as it is. And wherever he's going to go, he's going to get a multi-year extension. You're not trading assets for Jimmy G for 1 year at $23 million. I don't even think the Steelers would do that. Let's just say the Steelers decide in this offseason, sorry with the Mason Rudolph, that ain't happening. We're going to do better. We're going to get Jimmy G. Come on, you're going to sign him to a 3-year, $75+ million deal.
I mean, David, I know it sounds crazy. I don't know if that's enough.
Right.
I was thinking 3 and 90.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the going rate. And I'm not, at $30 million a year, I'm not paying him Mahomes money.
I don't
paying him a fraction of it. I really and truly am.
I don't even know if you're going to be paying him Baker Mayfield money.
Right. But you're still going to be paying him 25 to 30 million.
Yeah.
Because that's what the rate is.
It's the going rate for your starting quarterback. 14 minutes after the hour. Pat Reusse in 20 minutes.
When we come back, David, people have been talking about these poll questions. Well, they've been texting, they've been tweeting, and they have things to say.
Well, it's because you threw out more than one. And
one's about hot dogs.
Right. Just it's about sports. About hot dogs. Now we're talking. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The Florida player wanted to fight the whole Vols team?
Yeah,
Okay.
because someone called him short.
Okay.
Right. I mean, come on now. Can we? Jim Leland said you could make a case that he's the best player to ever play about Barry Bonds.
The numbers are ridiculous.
Oh my God. Johnny, why did you do that? When you realize that 1970 and 2022 are as far apart as 1970 and 1918. Johnny, I can tell you flat out, I hate you today. Not entirely, just today.
Yeah, that's harsh.
That is just a kick in the crotch, my friend. Oh my goodness, is that a terrible thing to say? Yeah, I was born a year before that, Dad. Holy Toledo.
Oh, please, KG username. There's no way that, first off, he's an Ohio kid. All right. Yeah, of course they're going to sign him. Got to remember, they own him for 5 years and they can franchise him twice. I mean, that's just if things are difficult. So you've got him for 5 more years after this, no matter what.
And it won't even get to that.
No.
Hell, they could be working on it right now, as far as we know. And certainly after this season, they'll get it done.
I do think it could be 10 years, 500 million, though.
Johnny, I understand it's only a mathematical perspective. It doesn't hurt any less. Okay?
It's just a pain in the side there.
1 minute.
So I have to go to Twitter. Apparently something was very funny.
I thought it was funny. I thought JK's comment was really, really funny. It just hit me hard.
No, it depends on the level of interaction. I handed something hard and told to eat it could be bad.
That's just gold.
It's
just gold. And Starman answers, sure you can. You put ketchup on it.
I'm with you, Starman. That's a concern, but then you wipe a lot of it off.
10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network. Pat Reusse to join us in roughly 15 minutes' time. I already texted him and said, hey, you better be ready for us because we are coming high and hard about you, Baseball Hall of Fame voter, you.
I'm sure that really bothered him.
He just texted me back, yes.
What did I see? Like, basically, with Ortiz getting in,
right?
Just to look into the votes, if you will. Apparently, Ortiz's percentages looked this way among the voters. 90% who voted for Bonds and Clemens in 21 voted for Ortiz. 93% of the voters who voted for Clemens, Bonds, and Manny voted for Ortiz. So basically, if you're voting for PED guys, you voted for Ortiz. But he got 62% from the anti-PED voters who voted for none of the above-mentioned players.
Okay. All right.
So 2/3 of the voters basically had no problem with the 03 survey testing, which the commissioner told them not to.
Correct.
There haven't been many people who have had talk of PEDs, whether confirmed, but rumors, that get in on the first ballot. I think Pudge got in on the first ballot. He had 76% of the vote. Ortiz had 77.9. Just found it interesting that he got 2/3 of the non-PED vote. I'm surprised he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Not stunned, surprised. I thought enough of those voters who hold the PED card so high and mighty would not vote for David Ortiz.
Thought it was very interesting what David Sampson had to say on our show yesterday, in which he said, yeah, Major League Baseball can influence Hall of Fame voting, and baseball couldn't go 2 years in a row without putting someone in. Baseball got lucky last year because they had to hold the 2020 ceremony in 2021, and so that's when Jeter got in. But this would have been 2 years in a row in which the voters did not elect anyone. And David Sampson said, yeah, that's bad for business. Not just for Major League Baseball, but for the Hall of Fame specifically, in which basically that 3-day weekend bankrolls it for the year.
Also, they tracked the new voters, and it's too bad for Bonds and Clemens because the new voters, 86% of them were voting Bonds and Clemens in, but it's only 59 guys that are. This is new voters since 2018.
So in the last 3-4 years, about 60 new voters have come on board.
51 of them, 51 of the 59 have voted for Bonds, have voted for both of them.
Well, and the other thing which is clear is that up until a couple years ago when they changed the rules and they took a 15-year period of time and reduced it to 10. Mark, I think if Bonds and Clemens and Schilling, for that matter, had 5 more years of candidacy, I think they all would have gotten in. I believe that. I mean, they went from 61-ish to 66 and 65 this year. And I also think that, yeah, the voters this year penalized Schilling for his comments about them specifically last year. But then I think that they would have come around.
Curt Schilling had 70% of the vote 2 years ago. Missed it by 16 votes last year and dropped by 12.5%.
Right.
He literally tweeted himself out of the Hall of Fame.
I think so.
Oh, there's no doubt. He'll get in. The Today's Game voter will put him in first. He will get in ahead of Bonds and Clemens. Guaranteed. Write it down.
Yes, I think he gets in later this year. That committee meets before this year is up. And I believe...
Can they vote on his candidacy even because he was still...
Yes. They can vote on it because he's now off the ballot. They're all off the ballot as of, Tuesday. So they all now that committee, I guess they have to take all the people that are possible and narrow it down to like 11. And then they have to consider those 11 candidacies.
And how many out of the 11 can they put in? Is it 2?
See, I didn't
or is
realize,
it unlimited?
I didn't think there was a limit. I thought it was just a matter of you have to get 75% of the votes. Here's the problem. It's 16 people. You got to get 12 votes.
And that's why it'll be harder, in my opinion, for Bonds and Clements than Seth Everett thought it would be yesterday.
Well, because if you think that the full vote from the Baseball Writers Association of America is political and there are biases and grudges and what have you, make it a room of 16. I mean, it's how Harold Baines got in. Tony La Russa and Jerry Reinsdorf were 2 of the 16 people in the room. And it was their mission in life to get Harold Baines into the Hall of Fame. And they made deals with people. They flat out made deals with people. And they got Baines the votes and got him in the Hall of Fame. And that is going to happen in that room. You vote for mine, I'll vote for yours. It's going to happen.
That's something.
It's already happened.
I mean, it's a hell of a system.
I agree. It's ridiculous.
Right. Making the baseball writers actually look competent.
I don't know about that.
Well,
better.
That's for certain. We've got a pair of poll questions today.
Okay.
One came because David said there is no such thing as a bad hot dog.
There isn't. This is not inarguable as far as I'm concerned. It's its own food group. It stands alone.
And within pizza's its own food group, right?
You can have bad pizza.
Is pizza its own food group? If you're telling me a hot dog's its own damn food group, how the hell can pizza not be its own food group?
Okay. I mean,
and you can have bad pizza.
I mean, you could consider, pizza under the Italian umbrella. I mean, where are you going to put the hot dog? Under what umbrella? I mean, first off, there's no food group that wants to be associated with it. So, I mean, it's almost ostracized.
It's a dadgum good point. It really and truly is.
We're bread, we're Italian. I mean, there are, want to, no, pizza's ours. No, I want to claim it. I mean, please.
No one's claiming hot dog.
Just all the food
Chicago.
Groups, slamming the doors shut.
I mean, Chicago's.
I don't know if Chicago is a food group.
No. I mean, they're the only one claiming the hot dog.
Right.
They're the big cities are claiming
right.
dogs.
They're the voice down the hallway going, we'll help you if we can.
David, right now, 66% of our audience thinks you can have a bad hot dog.
Not possible.
But JK on Twitter delivered the following. Voted no on your team, but it depends on the level of interaction I'm allowed. Handed something horrid and told to eat it can be bad. Handed something and allowed to doctor it and reheat it, etc., no such thing.
Thank you.
To which Starman answered him and said, sure you can. You can put ketchup on it.
Why?
Thank you for that.
You just take it and wipe it off. Just like that.
But our main poll question is, now that football season is nearing the end, what will you be watching the most of? And David, dramatic returns in our poll question today because the NBA is still bringing up the rear with a little less than 11%. Hockey has made a huge charge, getting to nearly 27% of the vote.
You do realize that every time you read these results, our producer gets more and more disconsolate over that.
I don't care. It's a lesson for you. School is in session every day for you from 6 until 10.
We've tried.
My only thing is to get you to listen more when school. Are you a good listener in class?
No. Oh, please. Don't say yes. Come on. Admit one.
Or do you like to fight with the professor and disagree with the professors on a regular basis, Felipe?
So in high school, I'll have the occasional, I get what you're saying, but please explain it again. I didn't understand.
Yeah, but now you're an adult.
Oh,
see,
no, college is easy, by the way. Just saying.
Well,
go to class
when you go to FGCU.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
The people have spoken. I get it. You don't like the NBA.
NCAA little over 30% of the vote, and Netflix at just over 32.
Ooh, college hoops making a run.
Right.
March Madness making a run.
But 90% of you will not be watching the NBA.
Well, now see, I think that's a little harsh.
Most of.
They're saying it's not their favorite amongst the four. We're still making our point. We've been trying to tell young Felipe, listen, the NBA is to you, all right? It's people under 35.
Well, and under 35, and he is from Miami.
Right. He's from an NBA city.
And from a city. The NBA thrives in big cities.
Right.
It does not thrive most other places.
And even though obviously Tampa St. Pete is a major metropolitan area, all right, as was shown last year, it's not like there was this clamoring when the Raptors had to play there last year that there was this local clamoring like, we need an NBA team of our own. I mean, if they're going to expand to 32, why don't we have a franchise? There was none of that. There was not, hey, we're here, to help out. If you need us again, let us know. But we're good. Things are just fine, thank you. We got to figure out the Rays first before we. Hell, I think if given a choice, Tampa St. Pete, if they could reignite arena football and the I-4 war or an NBA franchise, I think they would want to reignite arena football and just play Orlando every week.
100%.
Miller and Moulton. Pat Reusse on the other side here on the Florida Sports Network. Divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The I-4 war. Wait, what? You live less than a half mile away from the FTX arena? So you probably live north of it. I mean, unless you live in downtown. Do you live in downtown? I get that, but you want to know something? Everything that people have to complain about the NBA nowadays, the Heat does the opposite of. Oh, they're playing too much iso ball. They're chucking up too many threes. We move the ball a lot. We play good defense. We play team basketball. Every person on the team has a role. They carry out their role to the absolute fullest. We're one of the most well-coached teams in the NBA, and I don't even think you can debate that.
No, you can't. Spoelstra's
You can't.
Spoelstra's one of the three best coaches in the league.
Yes. I think
I mean, he is on his way to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he's Filipino Jackson.
And not only that, he's got game. He married a Heat cheerleader.
Yes, he did.
I mean,
Come on, Heat dancer? Come on now. Best dancers in the NBA.
Oh, I don't know about that. Don't know about that.
The accolades speak for themselves.
Have you ever seen a Lakers game in person? Have you ever seen the Laker girls?
Once when I was 7.
Yeah.
Got to see Kobe. I saw Kobe twice.
No, but I'm talking in Los Angeles.
Yes, in LA, yes. I went to a Lakers game once.
Okay, cool.
But I don't even remember it. So.
Yeah, but I don't think you remember the Laker girls.
No, definitely not.
I would want you to go back and then revise your vote.
It's funny because when I went, that was the first year that he wore 24. And I didn't know that like he was fully switching to 24. So I just thought to myself, this guy's crazy. He just switches to 8 and 24 whenever he wants. Wow. That's pretty cool. Heat future and have a Heat future and a Warriors future.
Means they bet on the Heat and the
Oh,
Warriors, so a
right.
future bet to win the title
Future,
or to
yeah,
win the
future.
conference.
Got it. Yeah, that'd be a hell of a series. A lot of traveling too, a lot of miles. The I-4 war. I heard you say that.
Yeah. Tampa Bay and Orlando in arena football. It was real and it was fun.
That sounds awesome.
It was. Both places sold out. If you went to Tampa Bay Storm and what was Orlando's name? And you went to
Weren't they the Predators?
Yeah, you're right. You went to those Arena Football League games and you then wonder how in the world did this league not make it? Absolutely packed and eating and drinking like crazy.
Behind, you've been to a Heat game though? Look, I tell people all the time, if you want to tour in Miami, one of the best things to do is actually to go to a Heat game. It's fun.
I'd take some of the South Beach bars over a Heat game any day of the week. You said to
obviously.
tour Miami. You sell Tim. That's your top thing would be a Heat game.
No, I said one thing I would tell someone to do would be to go to a Heat game.
Oh God, I hate seeing those tweets. Who is he with?
Pat, it's on hold.
Star Trib.
10 seconds.
REU, right?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Two big stories in the sports world since the show started. Nathaniel Hackett, Packers offensive coordinator, now the new head coach of the Denver Broncos, and 28-year-old Danielle Collins from St. Petersburg, advancing to her first ever Grand Slam final. She's in the finals of the Australian Open. She'll face the top seed Ash Barty in 48 hours. Patrick Reusse is kind enough to join us once again. He from the Star Tribune in Minneapolis. You can follow him on Twitter at Patrick_Reusse. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I sold the condo in Fort Myers, and when it was 16 below 2 nights ago, I was having second thoughts. I must admit that.
I was talking about you the other day on the golf course with some Minneapolis folks, and they said, he's still down here. I said, no, he sold his place. And they went, why the hell did he do that?
Snakes, pythons, they're hitchhiking up 75. If I ever saw one, I'd drop dead.
I have a feeling you saw a news story and then you watched the movie, Snakes on a Plane. I think you were in a very vulnerable moment, Pat.
Something like that, that's for sure. We got crazy stuff going on up here, man.
Yes, it's kind of why we called you. First off, so what are we making of the new GM who's an economics major?
It is incredible, really, that this is the first guy who has been promoted. That's what I'm reading anyway from the real hardcore NFL guys who comes strictly out of the analytic field. He is not really a football guy. He does know that the football's oblong, I think, but it's right out of the analytic world. He's a genius, apparently. I think I'm trying to figure out, his last name is Mensa. I don't know if that's what he was born with or they just gave that to him because he's so damn smart. I don't know what the deal is there. But anyway, he's going to be introduced today. I don't know what was going on yesterday, why they didn't have a press conference, but it's going to be really a bold experiment in analytics. And you know what I think the main thing here is, though, gentlemen, is I think they want a guy who knows where to spend their money. They spent a lot of money in the Spielman Zimmer era on Anthony Barr, guys like linebackers, and I think there's this whole theory in the NFL now that there's, beyond quarterback, there's about 5 or 6 key positions where you have to spend your money. And the Vikings were kicking away a lot of their money on safeties and linebackers and, not offensive linemen. And I think there's a whole theory that there's a few spots, running backs too. People don't want to spend their whole budget on running backs either. And I think this whole thing is based on how they're going to get their financial house in order as far as the salary cap's concerned. They're 40-some million over. And I think that there's 2 reasons they ended up with this guy. A, he was one of the 2 finalists, and apparently they lowballed this Ryan Poles originally. The guy who went to the Bears, and Trace Armstrong, his agent, got upset, so sent him down to Chicago, and then Chicago basically made sure they kept him. And so this was their other candidate, and we'll see. It's going to be. I was reading some of his quotes of the past. I'm going to have to get myself a new age language dictionary here because it's not like talking to Jerry Burns. I'll tell you that. So.
All right, Pat, when you look at the fan base, the media, is there more? It sounds like there's a lot more questions than answers. Is it excitement of a new GM or is it upset about who they chose as the new GM?
And the hardcore fans seem to be on board. They're trying to convince themselves that it's good. Everybody wanted change. Everybody wanted Zimmer and then Spielman out. Not everybody, but 90%. And so they're willing to give this a try. It's going to be interesting who he hires as a head coach. Apparently, he's close to this. D'Amico Ryans, a 37-year-old, the defensive coordinator at the played at Alabama. That's the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. I think he's kind of the leading candidate, people feel now. So you go to a 40-year-old GM and a 37-year-old coach. If that's how it turns out, that's quite a dramatic change for this franchise. I would say, guys, that it's the most dramatic change in franchise history, probably topping bringing Denny Green in here in 1992, which was kind of a breakaway from the Vikings having the same 30 guys running the same guys running the franchise for about 30 years there. And this is a dramatic. This is not the all in the family approach that the Vikings have had for a lot of years.
And Denny had a good run, but it was had some controversy, and I don't know that Denny and the fan base, whether it was ever harmonious, except for maybe that magical 1998 season. So it will be interesting to see how things go with the Vikings, and obviously the first major decision will be what to do with Cousins, who's entering the final year of his deal, and he cannot be franchised, remember, because he's already been franchised twice in his career. So he cannot be franchised by Vikings.
I got the solution. They won't listen to me here. I got the solution.
Okay.
Cleveland wants out from Baker, right?
Yep.
We take Baker, but we don't give them a new deal. We give them Cousins and get a second-round draft choice and maybe a player with it, right? They get Cousins back with Stefanski, and we give Baker a year to see if he's a player or not. Don't give him a new deal. Just let him play for a year and see if he can play or not, because you're not going to go to the Super Bowl anyway, right? So let's get Baker in there and see if he's as bad as he was last year or above average as he was the year before.
Okay. But how about this? How about if the Browns say, hey, we'll make that deal, but it's straight up. We're not giving you anything.
Yeah, I'd probably make that trade too. Hey, just anything to get out from under Cousins. It's what would be my strategy.
Well, the Vikings would save a lot of money, actually. I think Cousins is on the books for around 34, 35, and Baker obviously is not anywhere near that. He would have to get a second contract for that, which takes us now to, Pat, where we really wanted to go.
You're a Baseball Hall of Fame voter. The world seems to finally be up in arms over Bonds and Clemens not getting in. Your thoughts on the whole PED thing, Ortiz getting it on the first ballot? If you want to share anything about your vote, we would love to hear it, Pat.
I have never voted for Bonds or Clemens. I think they had the goods on them no matter what the technicalities were of the federal juries. I have never voted for the guys that they had the goods on. Now, I did not, however, vote on guys where they didn't have the goods on them. For instance, I did not ignore guys like Bagwell. They were all the Bagwell rumors. I voted for Bagwell. I thought they had the goods on Clemens and they had the goods on Bonds, and I don't. And I did vote for Poppy because I don't think they got the goods on them. And you know what I've always said, gents? It's like embezzlement, right? Some embezzlers get caught and they do their time and others don't. It's America. Some people get away with stuff, some don't. I'm not certainly saying David Ortiz is innocent. I just don't think they have the goods on him. I didn't vote for Clemens and I didn't vote for Bonds ever. And that's all I can say about that.
Well, and that's your right, Pat. That's your right. You're a voter. It's your ballot, and you can do with it what you will. What would you say, though, to people like Miller and Moulton who think that the group that get to vote on this the deck needs to be shuffled? And I understand that you and 400 others aren't going to give up your vote, but there's the whole electronic media that are largely not part of the club. The broadcasters are not part of the club. What if we said, listen, Pat, you and 450 others get to keep your vote, but we need to we need to add more people to it. We need to encompass more of who is actually in the sport. Would you be okay with that?
Now, what do you mean by in the sport? What do you mean?
Well, broadcasters.
Broadcasters.
Yeah, broadcasters specifically.
I would think where we're headed is not there where we're headed. I think the writers will not be the voters in 5 years. I think that ship's going to sail. Newspapers don't cover baseball like they used to, obviously, because of finances. We still do up here, fortunately, but a lot of them don't. I think you're going to have an NFL type of Hall of Fame thing with 50 people getting in a room. Some of those will be sports writers. Some will be broadcasters. Some will be former players. It'll be more like the NFL thing. I think that this certainly is a watershed moment, and I'm not going to hold my breath and say, boy, we were being wronged here. The baseball writers own the copyright to the MVP, the Cy Young, the Manager of the Year, the Rookie of the Year, all those awards. We do not have. We vote at the behest of the Hall of Fame. There's no copyrights or anything. The Hall of Fame set this system up many years ago, and obviously the baseball print media was a lot more important than it is now. And I think that's where we're headed. I don't think it's going to get bigger. I don't think they want 1,000 people with a system where you got to get 75%. It is a god awful tough Hall of Fame to get into, and the fact that you can find ballots that seem very screwed up. Well, you get 400 people in a room. There's going to be some screw ups in there, no matter who it is, right?
Make a dadgum good point.
Some people have even thought that even in the great halls of Congress, that we elect these geniuses to come in. Occasionally, you run into a screwball, right? So, and that's the same thing with the baseball, right? With the people voting on the Hall of Fame, and I think our time is running out here. I still fill out my ballot, but if somebody says, we got a better system, that's fine with me. I would not. Now, what I'm interested in, though, is there's 700 people in the baseball writers, something like that, and we got a lot of electronic guys in there now. I was number 6 on seniority last year, and I'm trying to find out how many of my guys in front of me have passed from this veil of tears and where I'm going to be, because once you get into single digits, basically, you're calling the cremation society to arrange your
which takes us full circle to the beginning of the conversation, which is you moving back to the southwest coast of Florida, where you're in your 50s and you start getting the cremation flyers in the mail. So that, it all comes full circle, Pat. And Miller and Moulton do advise you, whenever somebody chastises you and the baseball writers as a group, you should keep comparing yourself to Congress. Okay, you guys will always
dummies.
Yes,
and that there's no doubt about it.
Just listen.
I don't think that there's a lot of sympathy. The certainly the more influential national baseball writers, Rosenthal and Passon, and those guys, they're all on the Bob Nightingale. They're all on the Pond Clemens bandwagon and telling their brethren and sisterhood that we screwed up here. But it is what it is. I can't all of a sudden vote against those guys for my whole career and then start voting for them. So anyway, that's the way it is.
Pat, as always, thanks for your time and your insight. Stay safe, be well, all the best. And when you make your way back to the 239, look us up.
All right, gentlemen. See you later. Goodbye.
Pat Reusse of the Star Trib. You can follow him on Twitter at Pat_Reusse, Reusse. He is awesome.
Don't have to agree with him to absolutely love the guy. He is one of the best. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, So draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Calamity.
You're not kidding. But it was all over. And I didn't want to put it back in the car, stinking like coffee and coffee everywhere. So I just set it on my truck. So I went out to put it, so I didn't forget it, just put it in the truck. Right. And Big Mom is out there with one of his guys. So you got tomorrow off, right? Oh, there's I go, seriously. I mean, Howard Stern called and said, I want Big Mama's schedule.
Did you really? Damn, that's funny. Did he laugh?
Laughed his ass off.
Okay.
Laughed his ass off.
Good.
No. Thought it was hysterical.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm so glad that, because we love Pat Reusse. Absolutely love him. Sarcastic, snarky, funny. He can be serious as a heart attack if he absolutely has to be. We love him. Okay. There are a lot of people that don't like him. I'm glad that so far everyone in the Twitch chat room just thinks Reusse is the treasure that we do. It's another reason why spring training needs to happen. He ain't coming down without spring training. As soon as there's spring training, he'll be here. And Mom, if you're listening, another one. So Pat Kirwan, Gary, Pat Reusse. By the way, did anybody notice that today's show is all Pat? It was Pat Kirwan, Patricia Traina, Pat Reusse.
Wow. The trifecta of Pats. That earns a pat on the back.
Yes, Swamp Buggy. Reusse and Bert Sugar together would have been amazing.
Oh, God, I miss Bert.
Bert today would be so amazing with everything that's going on and how messed up it is. Oh,
did you see what Reusse? Did you look at Reusse's bio on Twitter?
Oh, I want to see this.
Which is why the Congress comment is even more apropos. That's a guy that doesn't give two blanks right there.
Yeah. I saw something the other day. So the most powerful Air Force in the world is the U.S. Air Force. The second, third, and fourth is the Navy, the Army, and the Marine Corps.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Go watch the first 3 minutes of the first episode of a show called Newsroom.
Ooh, maybe I will.
All you got to do is Google opening scene from Newsroom. Watch that on YouTube. It'll take you a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Explains everything you need to know.
Apparently there are reports that contract negotiations have hit a snag with Leftwich.
Because he wants Balky out.
I mean, with Byron.
Wants Trent Balky out. That's what I'm reading. I love the name of Dockage's show. Don't at me.
Is that
That's a good one.
is that his
I'll work on that.
Indianapolis show?
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. There is a developing story right now out of Jacksonville in which Byron Leftwich is the choice, but he ain't signing unless Trent Baalke's out of here.
Been saying this all week. It felt that way. It just felt that way. Jacksonville, Miami, not getting anything done, and the two GMs I thought were slowing it down. It's now stories out that it is slowing it down in Jacksonville.
Numerous reports saying that Leftwich does not want Baalke to have control of the roster. And he wants Baalke out, and he wants the Jags to hire Adrian Wilson, who's the vice president of pro scouting with the Cardinals. Remember, Leftwich also did a stint in Arizona with Arians before then rejoining him in Tampa. All right. Let's just, none of us know anything about anybody here. All right. So let's just go blanket.
Right.
All right. So I want to hire you to be the head coach.
Right.
And we've had some difficulties here, and I need you to, you got to work out, man. And apparently the fan base is split on you, to be brutally honest. I thought it would be more behind your candidacy. You used to play here, number one pick, popular guy, etc. But you're wanting me to get rid of my general manager. I could have gotten rid of him in the last 2 months. I decided to keep him. I'm not getting rid of him.
And you want me to tell you why that's the right move?
I just want to know why it is you won't accept working here.
Because I don't want to work with him.
But you've never been a head coach before.
Right.
And
you've never won before.
Well,
you've never won, sir. No offense. You don't know the first thing about winning. I just won a Super Bowl. Learned from a great coach. Organization from the top down that was invested in winning a Super Bowl. Are you as invested as the Glazers are? Because from my seat, it doesn't appear that way. And part of the reason is the gentleman you have as general manager. I don't think he's good enough. And I've talked to this person who've all bagged me. Here's my report on your general manager, sir. Go ahead, take a look. I'm going to go grab a smoke. Get with me in 10 minutes.
I will say, and I would respond very well to this, but I will say, if you're Mr. Khan, how could you be that connected to Trent Baalke?
I don't get it.
He hasn't been there that in his current position. He has not been there that long. And, we're going to put most of last year on Urban, right?
Yes.
But whatever we're not putting on Urban, we do have to put on you. If you didn't help make it better, I can tell you that, right?
You didn't know how to handle a first-time head coach or first-time NFL head coach. You certainly didn't give him very good advice.
So how about this little role play here? What if I give you final say on the roster? I keep Trent. He's my guy. I know him. I can work with him and what have you. You get final say on the 53.
That's great. And I really appreciate that, Mr. Khan. But at the end of the day, I get final say on the 53, but he's still drafting who these players are that I'm going to determine are my 53. And I don't think he's competent enough to do that. I'm trying to tell you right now, I have someone who's helped build an organization. You, sir, have not drafted well. You do not have good players. I can sit in Tampa for another year and wait for Bruce to retire and take that job.
So you are, well, first off, they may give it to Bowles and not you. All right. So don't threaten me with that one. So you are going to turn down a head coaching job at a place that you played at and a job that you clearly want when I am giving you final say on personnel, on the roster. And yeah, he may pick some draft picks. Yes, he may. But if you're standing on the table, pounding the table for somebody, we will draft that guy. But you're not going to do the due diligence to scout and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, come on now.
And I think, once again, what Leftwich is saying is he doesn't think Trent Baalke's competent. That's what he's telling the owner by saying this. I don't think I can win with this guy.
You know what the biggest thing working against Baalke, in my opinion? Baalke's the source of all the leaks. I'm convinced of that. Because, Baalke kind of worked with Harbaugh in San Francisco, and most people, and, terrific coach, but most people said Jim was nuts when he was in San Francisco, just bat blank crazy, difficult to work with. And, Baalke kind of sort of worked with him. Things, I don't know how you could blame anything there on Baalke.
He's had back-to-back first overall picks in the National Football League as a general manager.
Wait, was he GM in 2020? Or I thought he got promoted with Urban. See, I thought he's only been the GM for a year.
Okay.
I thought he was the assistant GM, and Khan cleaned house, got rid of both the GM and the head coach. Because remember, technically it was Coughlin there. So I think Baalke, though, was an assistant GM.
Right.
He was. So what if I promise you get to choose the guy first overall? Whoever you want, we'll take. I'll put that in writing if you want. First overall pick, whoever you want, we'll take.
That's great. And I think that's a wonderful consolation prize. But see, you don't win a championship on the first overall pick. You win the championship on rounds 2 through 7. I think that's what's going on right now. And I do think you're right that it's definitely some of the leak part of it as well.
And which, by the way, I think is reason enough, even if you're Leftwich, totally reason enough that I don't trust this guy. He undermined the last head coach. I mean, you could certainly draw that conclusion from afar. I mean, all the stuff that was being leaked about Urban. And you and I are willing to assume that most of it was true because Urban has a problem with the truth. So we'll give just about anybody the benefit of the doubt. If it's Urban's word against anybody's, we're probably going to side with anybody 90% of the time. But the fact of the matter is that all that stuff was coming out. It was like an intentional hit job that was being done to get him out of here. And I could see where if you're Leftwich and your other coaches, I'm sure they've come to the same conclusion. I think Baalke is the source of the leaks.
But it's obvious now that Baalke is preventing them from getting coaches that they want. There's no question. If, as you said, I mean, let's just step back for a second. There's 32 of these suckers.
Right.
And someone's saying, I don't want to do this for the first time ever because of a GM. Who else has said, this is what we're getting, who else has said this privately?
Well, right. If Byron Leftwich, if a first-timer doesn't want to work with Baalke, then you could certainly, in theory, rule out the Petersons, the Caldwells, the Quinns of the world.
Totally.
Right.
I don't know why these guys aren't getting jobs. They may not be interested in this job.
I do like the concept also. If I'm Mr. Khan and I have decided, Mark, that you're the guy, so obviously you've impressed me. You've sold me on your vision or what have you. And then you also say, hey, I got a GM. This is who I would like to work with. I got a GM. And I would be like, well, I kind of already, got a GM. And you go, come on. I mean, really, you're married to him? And what has he done for you to be married to? All right. But I got a guy, the whole ownership, GM, head coach, quarterback. And you look right at him and you go, come on, you got 3/4 of the puzzle here. You, me, Trevor. Bring in my guy.
You, me, Trevor.
Yeah, well, seriously. You look right at him. There are the 4 key tenets to build a winning NFL team. ownership. Well, Khan doesn't think he's a screw up.
David, you've got the 4 right. I like how you all of a sudden we've been in this interview and you've been all over me for my answers to you, Mr. Khan. And your answer is left, which was, Mr. Khan, come on, me, you, Trevor.
Right.
We got something going here.
Right.
That just, it's the voice that you use for that one, okay? That's all. That's all. You're taking me on for every answer I'm given, and you give, hey, me, you, Trevor. Huh?
I mean, I will say, I don't want to oversell it here, but there's a part of me that wants to go on the blackboard and go, and Khan, okay, Leftwich, Lawrence, okay, and then just circle the spot in between Khan and Leftwich and go, I got to admit, all right, I don't have enough vowels, okay, bulky doesn't work for me. Just come on now. If we want to be in a row here, if we want to be in alignment, I need to do something about this little spot right here. We're almost home, sir. We're almost home. And by the way, your fans dressed up in clowns for the final game of the year because you're keeping this guy. They're calling you a clown. I'm trying to help you out here.
That's the other part of this. It's almost like Khan's keeping them just to spite the fans, for the love of God.
Which is going, I'm trying to do you a solid. I really am.
This is help. This is not hindering you, sir. We have another development going on in this show today.
What?
David, the sports poll question is killing the hot dog question in sheer votes.
What? Oh, maybe it's because it's obvious, all right, that there's no such thing as a bad hot dog.
Well, 65% do say that there is.
Whatever.
But Netflix still winning, albeit close. Now that football season is nearing the end, what will you be watching the most of? Updating the poll question, Netflix still with a little over 32% of the vote. Hockey at just under 30%. College hoop at just over 27%. And the NBA number has dropped again at about 10.5%.
Wow.
Take out Felipe's vote, it might not even be getting. It might just be barely getting 10% of the vote.
And not only that, Felipe texted a few of his friends, some of his family. I mean, if you take Felipe's influence out of that vote, it could be somewhere between 4 and 6%. So go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, vote in our poll question of the day. Where is it you're going to turn your attention to now that the football season is all but over? And we intentionally did not put NFL off season. Okay. We're forcing you to broaden your horizons. Got it?
It would have kicked Netflix ass.
Yeah, it would have destroyed everybody. 13 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Nick, I love you.
Everything all right?
The Bills guy that I showed you that sings a song,
My guy.
apparently was accused of kind of groping some chick. And he works at West Bay.
Right.
And he's saying he doesn't even know it wasn't him. It was a different person. That's not me. Trying to clear his name. So, it's just so in a group text, my phone blew up with Bill's dad controversy.
Pepa se agua para la seca, todo el mundo batía en la discoteca. Pa, pa. Y'all ever heard that song? I'm only singing it now because Miller and Moulton don't have their headphones on. Probably bleed to death if they heard it. But yeah, Pepas. It's the Heat fourth quarter theme song right there, baby. You hear that playing at the, well, formerly AAA. You hear that playing, it's over. It's over for you.
By the way, we got USA Soccer tonight.
Hey.
What?
World Cup qualifier tonight.
Wow, that's big.
Just for the what's on tap, for what it's worth.
Some football.
At El Salvador.
Hey.
The people that follow this say it's the biggest of the 3 qualifiers for us.
That's huge.
No, fam. I did not. Adam in the Twitch chat room said, well, I did send Khan a clown outfit, and that may be impacting his pride.
So there's 2 women that are racing in NASCAR. One apparently is getting an Xfinity car. Jake says she's gorgeous. She's blonde. She can't drive. She's Danica. He goes, she wrecks everybody. The other one's in the truck series. And Jake said she can flat out drive.
Okay.
He goes, she's good. Just throw that in your head in your Rolodex, because I know you like to pay attention to those things.
You know what is funny? Danica could drive. All right. But Danica, in both Indy and NASCAR, Danica was better the bigger and faster the track was. Danica was great with speed. Her best results in NASCAR were at Daytona and Talladega. Her best result at Indy was Indy.
Yeah, no.
Consistently, anyway. I know she got the win in Tokyo, but I mean.
No, I know what you're saying, but
and that was a fuel mileage win also.
Right. And it was on tape delay, so some people questioned whether or not.
Right. It was always funny when he would say that.
Did they finally get the guy on the Shark? No kidding, fam. That's fantastic.
Well, Adam, you and Mark both. It's all about curling. I don't even think Mark's excited about this year's curling coverage.
30 seconds.
What do we got here? I think she's going to do a little broadcasting this year.
10 seconds.
Oop. Who's that?
Stretch.
Danica.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. It was an all-Pat show today. Pat Kirwan, Patricia Traina, Pat Reusse. an all-Pat show. If you missed any of it, millerandmoulton.com. Beginning about 11 a.m. Felipe does a great job getting the stuff up, posted, and all that. If you miss any of the show, if you haven't voted in our poll question, we do have two. I mean, one not sports. Is there such thing as a bad hot dog?
Yes.
I say no. I'm losing. Admit I've had about a 2-year run where I'm not doing well in the poll questions. I'm in the minority more than I'm in the
It's
majority.
okay.
Oh,
That's
no,
okay.
I'm fine with it. I'm at a certain age now where, you should be comfortable with yourself.
That's how I am in the primaries, David. I haven't picked a guy in about 10 of these.
But
Show up every time and check a box off in the
is-
primary.
See, and I'm fine voting for the loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no problem.
Doesn't mean I was wrong.
Right. Well, how can you?
And based on, the people we keep putting in, really backs it up.
Right. But also, it's your vote. How could it be wrong? Right? It's a focus group of one.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how it could be wrong. But, at this age, I mean, I think you should be comfortable with who you are by now.
And it seems very comforting
Right.
for you to say there's no such thing as a bad hot dog.
Right. Because it fits how I dress, my appearance, especially right now. I have not shaven in over a week. And it's starting to, first off, it's really gray. And it probably needs to be taken care of. We're about 3 days away from Grizzly Adams, which is an old enough reference as it is, but I don't know who has a big white beard.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, right.
Santa Claus. And if for whatever reason these football gigs don't work out, there's a mall near you that would take you with a big beard.
Well, hey, if this third act doesn't work out, I may need the work. I'll say to them, I'm not available weekends, but I'm your guy Monday through Friday. Miller and Moulton. The serious poll question, though, is, hey, we're down to just 2 days of football and 3 games. So come on now. If you don't want to talk to your friends and family, you need something to divert your attention. What's it going to be? NBA, NHL, college hoops, or Netflix? And right now, college hoops and Netflix are going toe-to-toe.
And the NHL, a little ahead of NCAA hoops as well. It just proves, and we know that a lot of people that follow David and I on Twitter are longtime followers of the show when we were just on in Southwest Florida. And as we've said, this is a great little hockey market. We've added Tampa. Tampa's a great hockey market. Great. Not a great Florida hockey market.
No.
A great hockey market.
Correct. Going all the way down to youth as well. And they're producing a lot of hockey players.
This whole state is. I mean, the
former NHLers who have relocated here and they're starting up hockey teams. And
former Everblades. Ryan Brindley's kid just accepted a scholarship to Michigan. Jim Brown, who played for the Everblades, his kid's playing for P.K. O'Hanley, the Everblades' first assistant, who is now the president of the Sioux City USHL team. It's pretty amazing, quite frankly, the hockey players that have been produced in the state of Florida in the last 5 years. It's actually astonishing. Guys getting drafted into the league that played their youth hockey in the state of Florida. I mean, that is amazing what the last generation has done to this sport in this state. It's astonishing to me.
And the Lightning deserve a good chunk of the credit. The Panthers obviously get a smidgen of it. But also, obviously the 239, the Blades deserve all the credit.
100%. And the Panthers being over there have put rinks over on that coast. So there's
Right.
youth hockey on that side. There's a lot of youth hockey in Tampa. Absolutely.
And this state has always had, even though they've had trouble staying in business, there was minor league hockey in Tallahassee for a good while. There's been minor league hockey in Jacksonville for a generation, and they're even trying to make a go of it in Orlando. So it's not just in one or two corners
Correct.
of the state. It's pretty much statewide. Nathaniel Hackett, the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. Was the offensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. And so that will help to further the Aaron Rodgers to Denver rumors. Do you know what I was thinking of today? And this is a crazy thought process, but just bear with me. I was thinking ahead to the game Sunday that, I have to work, the Rams-Niners game. And in the last 11 seasons, I was just thinking about where have the teams in the NFC Championship game come from? And you've got 22 teams, obviously, 11 NFC Championship games. Do you know 10 of the teams have come from the West?
Okay, because we've had Seattle's been there a couple of times.
And, well, actually, all 4 teams
right?
have been, because Arizona was
got the one
in 2015. But the Rams have been twice. San Francisco's been 5 times. One for Arizona, and then, do the math. Seattle went twice in back-to-back years. But so think about that. Meanwhile, the other 3 divisions combined have represented 12 times. Only 2 NFC East teams in an 11-year period of time. They both won the Super Bowl, the Giants and the Eagles. That's it.
Well, we knew it wasn't the Cowboys.
Right. Because it's been a quarter century. And 5 times the North and 5 times the South. What is interesting is that every team in the South has been in the NFC Championship game over the last 11 years. I mean, Atlanta went twice. New Orleans went in the last 11 years just the one time, the game they got hosed by the officials for against the Rams. Carolina obviously went to the Super Bowl in 2015. And, Tampa, obviously.
Right.
So, but every team in that has been represented. Meanwhile, obviously, 2 of the 4 in the North haven't sniffed it. 2 of the 4 in the East haven't sniffed it. But it does show, because we're talking about in the AFC, like why Rodgers or somebody wouldn't want to go to the West, because you're going to have to deal with Mahomes in Kansas City. Never mind if the Chargers can one day actually get out of their own way and figure it out with Justin Herbert. And you can see just how difficult it's been in the West. And yet they've managed to all do it. And really, you could look at it as a failure of much of the rest of the conference.
Well, particularly the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're going through all of that, and I'm listening to you, and it's easy to pick on the Lions. It's simple. But every year, the Cowboys have top 10 odds to win the Super Bowl. Damn near. And expectations are set very high. And yet, they've not been able to make a championship game, let alone get past a championship game. And they are without question, we already know this, they are the most overrated team in sports. Not just football, David. Those numbers, what you just gave us, just as another line on how overrated the Dallas Cowboys are. Because the other teams that you're talking about that have not made a championship game, we don't think of them as we think of them as horrible franchises. The Dallas Cowboys aren't portrayed that way. And to be on that list is pretty damning.
I'm trying to do the math here in the AFC. I mean, obviously the Jets and the Dolphins, because the Jets actually went to back-to-back AFC title games, but it was right before this 11-year period of time that I, encapsulating here, from 2011 through 2021, and now including 2022. But the Patriots went 8 times. I mean, they went 8 in a row.
Right.
And Buffalo obviously went last year. And the Jets and the Dolphins have not gone. Okay. Well, Tennessee went once. A couple years ago, they lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Actually had a 10-point lead in that game. And the Colts went in the Deflategate game of 2014. They went. Kansas City's gone 4 in a row here.
Right.
And Denver went twice with Peyton. And they won both times. They beat the Patriots and went to the Super Bowl. Once they won, one they lost. So, you do the math. That's 17 of the 22 right there. which means, figure it out. Coming out of the North, there's been 5 such teams to represent between Pittsburgh and Baltimore appearances in the AFC Championship game. So it's a little more balanced in the AFC, but you could see the 2 teams of dominance. New England, 8 in a row. 8 in a row.
8 in a row.
And now Kansas City, 4 in a row. As New England's ended, Kansas City's has begun.
How long will their run last? Well, they're going to have things to work out here very short order when Patrick Mahomes starts getting paid.
The one thing they have done, they're always going to look worse against the cap than they are, because the way they have structured their contracts, they can take a lot of money and turn it into bonus money. If the Hunt family wants to keep writing big checks, they can keep manipulating the cap with some of their big money guys. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. Today was the day when, you know the drill. And some final thoughts on this Thursday edition of the Florida Sports Network. We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think it's important that, because part of the reason that I'm so sad with the poll results is what I came into this morning wearing. So I think
Right. But I have to admit, and I know you're not big on getting lessons from us because you think we're old and we
That's
don't know
not
anything.
true.
And we're wrong all the
Right.
time.
But
it's not true.
But I do think, and granted, this is just a little snippet and all that, but it's the demographics of the West Coast of Florida, which are very different demographics, from the East Coast of Florida, but very different demographics from where you grew up.
That is a factual statement. But what I just don't get is there's so little reception for such a great team.
But
it's only 2 hours away.
Right.
I get it.
Well, but
it's the league.
They're not a great team compared to what Heat great teams people know of, okay? Jimmy Butler's not the superstars that they had. It's not a Shaq. It's not. You can stand there and flex, but that's not a good answer. Like, all it makes me want to do is walk to the other side of the glass and punch you in the mouth so I can knock. Am I allowed to knock him out?
No, because then you'll get sued and,
One punch. It would just go away.
No, they have to
I'm working. No, they don't. You're not going to see what their responses are anyhow because I'm not on that thing. Look at this. You know what you need? You know what you really need?
A girl.
You need to play hockey.
Need a girl.
You need to play junior hockey where they take you into a room and haze you and shave you from head to toe. That's what you need.
You know that I've never played hockey in my life.
I'm positive of that.
That doesn't
You're
surprise
soft
us.
as baby blanket.
Oh,
That doesn't surprise us.
That's something Jimmy Butler would say.
He'd be right.
At all.
Good News Network have today for me, David.
A good news network?
It's the goodnewsnetwork.org. That's where I go to find goods occasionally.
Wow. How's that working for you?
Every once in a while, there's a good story on there.
Oh.
It's not terrible logic, man.
Tampa Bay is minus 320 tonight at home against the Devils. The Penguins are minus 330 at home against the Kraken. Damn. Damn. Let's see, who are they playing Saturday? We're going to see Saturday. Cal. Okay. Cal's terrible.
Oh, this is a pretty cool little factoid. Not really for today was day one, but 85, Springsteen wraps up the first leg of the Born in the USA tour with a show in the Carrier Dome. Flew to LA the next day, rents a car, and drives to A&M where he takes his part in the We Are the World sessions. I mean, that's pretty cool.
It was a big deal then.
College student from the Bronx busted for selling dozens of illegal guns to undercover cop. Good one.
Shocked, not shocked.
So, is it Staples here that I'm on? Yeah, Staples put an article in The Athletic this morning. Basically, apparently,
30 seconds.
the Big Ten is going to eliminate divisions.
They're talking about it.
And I'm just going, I knew it, but I mean, the fact that they did this in 2014, the West has never won the title.
Right.
Right.
10 seconds.
Ohio State's gone every year with 3, right? 4 now, because Michigan won.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. There is something that's out there. We're going to try to get a guest tomorrow about it. But for you college football fans, there could be a conference making a big change.
Really big change.
What conference and what's the change, Mark?
Big Ten's talking about eliminating the legends and leaders. I mean, the East and the West.
So what are they going to do? Just one big 14-team
One
blob?
big happy family.
Really? Seriously?
That's what they're talking about. Now, Andy Staples has his little thing here that he talks about 3 permanent members and rotating. We'll see what they do.
Okay, so there's 3 teams, like you're a Michigan State guy. So they would pick 3 schools that Michigan State would always play.
And they've got Michigan, Penn State, and they threw Northwestern, which I'm not exactly sure why, but whatever. I'm trying to think for all the trophy teams. Because Michigan State really, the Penn State one's stupid. In Michigan, they're going to play. Like Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Minnesota is the 3 they have for them. That takes care of everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Same thing with Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska. Minnesota gets Wisconsin, Iowa, and Michigan.
Well, good, because that's the return of the little brown jug.
Every year. It's got Ohio State with Michigan, Penn State, and Illinois. And I actually like that. The Ohio State-Illinois football is Illinois has beaten some pretty good Ohio State teams over the years.
Yeah. Ron Zook beat Tressel's 07 team.
So that's one of the things that they're proposing. And it all has to do with the next television contract.
There we go.
For the Big Ten.
There we go. Mm-hmm. Big Ten's going to cash in.
Oh,
The Big Ten's going to cash in so big. The SEC is going to go, damn, that's a lot of money.
because as great as the football is in the SEC, and it will still be the superior football conference, the alumni and the money of the Big Ten laughs at the SEC. And I mean laughs at it. What did Steve Day say on the show? If Michigan wants to get into this NIL game, then Uncle Jethro's
right.
You know, I mean, he was just slinging arrows at the SEC at that point.
So more on that story tomorrow. Right now, it is time for
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When.
starting with a historical fact that surprised me. In 1785, the first U.S. state university was chartered in Athens, Georgia. In 1870, Mark, after accepting the 15th Amendment, Virginia is readmitted into the Union.
That's a transfer portal.
We will let you back in. Sign this document. We're not happy about it. You're not happy about it. You don't have any options. We feel we're being nice. In 1880, on this day, Thomas Alva Edison patents the electric incandescent lamp.
Seemed to work out okay.
And I'll tell you what, this guy needed a vacation.
Like nobody you've ever heard of.
Unbelievable.
You know where he needed to go? Fort Myers, Florida.
And he did. And he hung out with, Mr. Firestone and Mr. Ford there.
Right.
Seemed to work out well for everybody. The first ever college basketball game was today. Remember, it was a week or so ago that we said it was the first time that a college decided to play 5-on-5. The first college basketball game was today in 1894. The University of Chicago beat the Chicago YMCA 19-11. Mark, on this day in 1945, Soviet troops liberate Auschwitz and Birkenau, the concentration camps. 1956, RCA releases Heartbreak Hotel by one Elvis Presley. It was his first ever million-selling record.
God, whoever wrote that song must be really happy. Because I know it wasn't the King.
No, co-writers, actually. I know it was two guys. Don't have the names. It was on this date in 1967, the Apollo 1 fire during a rehearsal. It killed astronauts Gus Grissom, Roger Chaffee, and Ed White. In 1969, Mark, on this date, the Steelers hired Chuck Noll. That was 1969. That was 53 years ago, if my math is correct. They've only hired two other guys since. 1969, the Steelers hired Noll.
The Texans will have hired two guys in 365 days, roughly.
The Giants will be on their fourth coach in 6 years, not counting interims. It was on this day, a year later, 1970, the Steelers take Terry Bradshaw first overall. The Falcons had the second pick. Legend has it the Falcons said to the Steelers, you can take as many players off our roster if you'd like. Can we switch places with you? And the Steelers said no. Also, the movie rating system on this date, on the same day in 1970, modified the M rating to PG. M for mature?
I'm guessing.
And PG?
We went for G for general audiences, M for mature audiences, and R actually makes more sense.
Yeah. PG for parental guidance.
And now mature is parental guidance. All right.
On this day in 1976, a biggie, Laverne and Shirley, premiered on ABC. Another biggie, Yep, we can all sing the tune in our head. On this day in 1982, one of the worst trades that a franchise could ever make. The Phillies said, we need to upgrade at shortstop. So how about we trade you Larry Boa, who's near the end, and you give us Ivan DeJesus. And then they said to the Cubs, we'll throw in this prospect who's about ready to break through in the majors. Okay. You're going to like him. He's a pretty good player. Ryan Sandberg. On this day in 82. It was on this day in 84 that Michael Jackson was burned during the filming of the Pepsi commercial.
And it turns out, in retrospect, he probably deserved it.
Well, it also turns out, though, that if legend is to be believed, that was the beginning of the pigmentation and him on painkillers. Okay. I mean, the deviant behavior aside,
right?
That was also the beginning of the other part of his life. It was 31 years ago in Tampa on this date that the Giants upset the Bills in Super Bowl 25. Scott Norwood with the kick heard round the world. It was on this date in 1996 that Monica Seles won the Australian Open. It was the only major that she won after she was stabbed. She had 8 majors before her stabbing. She only won the 96 Australian since. You and I both love Steffi Graf. All right. I think she ended up with like 20 majors right around there. You would have easily taken 6 of them away. Easily. Maybe half of them away if Seles doesn't get stabbed.
Certainly at least a handful, David. And I think we'd had a lot more matches between the two of them, obviously.
And the beginning of the dynasty, Tom Brady gets hurt in the second quarter. Drew Bledsoe has to finish the game. The Patriots upset the Steelers in the AFC Championship game 24-17 the week after the tuck. And then they would go on to upset the Rams in a week. Art Rooney was born on this date, Mark, in 1901. Billy White Shoes Johnson is 70.
There you go.
Brian Eggblom, Lightning color commentator and a pretty good hockey player, is 67. Chris Collinsworth is 63. Woody Austin, the golfer, who was born in Tampa, is 58. Patton Oswalt, the actor, is 53. Bryant Young, an underrated defensive lineman, thank you very much, is 50. And he won a couple majors. Murat Safin is 42. And that is today was the day.
All right, let's see. I thought I had one omission here for you. And it's kind of digging a little bit deep. Margot Timmons, born today in 1961. She is the lead singer of a band called the Cowboy Junkies. I would recommend that you listen.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to 19-year-old Sarah Rutherford, who will make all of us look bad because she just completed her 32,000-mile trip of Earth, becoming the youngest person to fly around the world solo. It took her 155 days. For the bad, we go to Vero Beach, where police responded to a suspicious person encountered. That suspicious person was 30-year-old Eric Bennett, who was apparently visibly intoxicated on an unknown substance. When asked about the large bulges in the pockets of his shorts and whether he possessed any weapons, he said, "I have hypodermic needles for fishing." He removed his bag of syringes inside. He also had a bag of fentanyl and said, "I don't want to go to jail." None of those things happened because, well, he went directly to jail. And finally, one of my favorite uglies ever, and no disclaimers, nothing needed. You know, moms are busy people. Never take anything away from how hard mom works. But Emily Vondi went to TikTok to recognize a terrible mistake that she's been making for years. It was her health insurance company that helped her figure out that her son's birthday's on the 25th of the month, not on the 26th of the month, which she'd been celebrating for several years for her son.
Come on.
It was the middle child explaining all we need to know about middle children.
Wow.
Her revelation has earned 3.8 million views on TikTok of the parent's mental hiccup.
Boy, that kid's going to need some therapy.
That, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 27th, 2022.
Damn. Did your mom love you? Yeah, but she forgot my birthday. Oh, what? Like 1 year? No. Damn near every year. Had the wrong day. Oh, sorry about that, man. We got hockey tonight. Both Florida teams in action. 10 games in the NHL tonight. I will say the NHL's back to actually playing all the games that are scheduled. Tampa Bay's home for the Devils. They're minus 330. That's a staggering favorite. And the Panthers, this should be a good one. Home for Las Vegas. NBA, the TNT doubleheader, and this is it, by the way. I think there's 2 games in the league tonight. The Sixers are hosting the Lakers, and Golden State's hosting the T-Wolves. 7:30 and 10 on TNT. There's, college basketball going on. I will say there's local college hoops. FGCU double dip. The men play the first one. The men at 5 and the nationally ranked women at 7:30. Conference play against East Carolina or Eastern Carolina. It's the first time that they've ever played.
So the women should win by 60?
Well, remember, no Kirsten Bell. She's out with a knee injury for at least 6
47?
weeks. But, yeah, they should win. Absolutely. Men favored by 3.5.
Ooh.
I think they're a good play tonight.
They played lousy their last game, right?
Well, actually, they played pretty well. They played the team that's in first on the other side of the division, lost by 8 on the road. I like them tonight to win and cover.
Well, that means one. You better run that one. It's not a football game. Run that to the bank. Moulton's betting FGCU basketball.
Well, I'm just saying, I like them. I think their recent struggles has reduced the line and that it's a good play.
If you haven't voted in our 2 poll questions today, now that football season is nearing the end, what we'll be watching the most of right now, Netflix with a clinging to a small lead over the NHL, which is ahead of NCAA basketball. NBA getting up to about 12%, a late push by the Felipe crowd for the NCAA. And, well, about 2/3 of you agree with me that you can have a bad hot dog. Little less than 2/3 agreeing with me on the hot dog vote, David.
No such thing. Not at all. I appreciate Steve in Florida taking to Twitter and supporting my cause. I think he's supporting my cause. Of course, I think he's showing someone eating a hot dog with ketchup. That concerns me. But thank you, Steve. Miller and Moulton. We will dive into the conference championship games tomorrow. Also, we'll dive a little more into the Big Ten getting rid of the divisions. And that's a dramatic change to their football scheduling. Will that be for just football? Because they don't have one for hoops.
Well, they don't have one for hoop.
Yeah. Miller and Moulton. Hey, thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk tomorrow on the Florida Sports Network.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com.